Chapter 375. Master, you said the great dragon saber is here. High up in the sky, Qian looked at Chu Bei in astonishment. Like the Hui Bao, the great dragon saber was also a legendary immortal treasure. Even 10,000 years ago, it was still famous. Chu Bei nodded in response and continued to fly according to the location marked on the map. Soon, they arrived in the sky above an ancient city. Master, this seems to be an abandoned ghost town. Chunnin looked down and scanned the city. It was abnormally quiet, with no one entering or leaving. From the mottled ancient city walls, it could be seen that the ancient city below had been through countless years. Even the inner walls of the diamond rock, which was said to never decay, had been weathered by the passage of time, showing the vicissitudes of life. Looking at the architectural style of the city, it was also incomparably ancient. It was impossible to tell how many years ago they were. Be careful. I can feel the pressure from the bloodline. My ancestor might be living in this city. The purple gold divine dragon seemed to have sensed something and howled. It seems to be the aura of the dragon emperor. The baby dragon nodded in agreement with the purple gold divine dragon. The aura you feel comes from the great dragon saber. As soon as his calm voice fell, Chu Bei took the lead and flew toward the square in the ancient city. Chen Nan, Catherine, and the rest followed closely behind. Master, what is this place? It seems like there was a fierce battle. Arriving at the square, Qian Nan frowned and his face became more serious. Looking around, there were eerie skeletons piled up in disorder. Some of them were even emitting a dim light and emitting a terrifying aura. Obviously, these skeletons were incomparably powerful deities when they were alive. Chu Bei did not answer Chun Nan's question. Instead, he pointed at a pile of ruins not far away. Chun Nan was stunned at first. Then, as if he understood Chu Bei's meaning, he immediately went forward and rummaged through the pile of ruins. Clang! Accompanied by the sound of metal clanging, Qian Nan lifted a huge rock. Below it was a rusty rotten saber. Master, is this rotten saber the great dragon saber? It doesn't look like it. Chun Nan glanced at the rotten saber and pursed his lips. What kind of joke is this? If these are all great dragon sabers, then even a casual spit from me would be a divine artifact. The purple gold dragon god extended its claw and pointed at the broken saber at Chen Nan's feet. It laughed heartily, Master. I didn't expect you to miscalculate. The surface of the rotten knife under Chen Nan's feet was covered in rust, and it was as densely packed as a fishing net. There were also countless small holes on the handle of the knife, and the front and back of the knife were transparent. Chu Bei looked at Chun Nan playfully and said with a smile, "You brought it to me." Chun Nan nodded slightly, then reached out his hand to grab the hilt, attempting to pick it up. However, the moment Chen Nan grasped the hilt of his sword, he knew that he was wrong. Even with his Tier 6 strength, he was unable to shake the ladder in the slightest. The ladder was as immovable as a black iron boulder. It's just a broken saber. Can't you pick it up? The purple gold divine dragon looked at Qian Nan in confusion. After saying that, it flew to the side of the broken saber and used all its strength to swing its mini dragon body and hit the saber hilt. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The moment the purple gold divine dragon hit the saber hilt, the originally rusty blade suddenly exploded with a dazzling light. In the next moment, a huge dragon roar exploded like wild thunder. The roar seemed to contain a kind of anger. In an instant, the purple gold divine dragon and Chen Nan, who were closest to the saber, were sent flying by an invisible force. Then, under everyone's gaze, the rusty saber flew into the sky and transformed into a dragon body. A 1,000-meter-long azure dragon hovered in the sky above the square. Its huge head was facing the purple gold divine dragon. It opened its mouth and roared continuously, filled with supreme majesty. Old ancestor, Oh, no, little dragon's behavior just now was not intended to offend you. I only wanted to help you loosen up your muscles and bones. Everything was done out of kindness. Seeing this scene, the purple gold divine dragon hurriedly prostrated on the ground, pretending to be pitiful. Under the tyrannical pressure of the azure dragon, it slowly moved its body closer to Chu Bei. Right now, Only this mysterious expert could save its dragon life. It never imagined that the once awe-inspiring great dragon saber would become like this. Oh, my ancestor, Lord Dragon Emperor, Little Dragon is really lucky to be able to see you once. Looking at the 1,000-foot-long divine dragon above, the baby dragon widened its eyes and immediately bowed devoutly in the air. In the sky above the square, the dragon's roar continued. The purple gold divine dragon moved its body and came behind Chu Bei. Its body trembled like a loach as it looked at the azure dragon above its head in horror. The dragon saber has a spirit. You two looked down on it before, so it naturally won't let you pick it up. Chu Bei glanced at Chun Nan and then held the purple gold divine dragon in his hand. Especially you actually took the initiative to attack it. This is a public humiliation. Master, I know I was wrong. Please help me beg the old ancestor for mercy. The purple gold divine dragon looked at Chu Bei with a face full of fear. The azure dragon above it exerted an instinctive pressure on it. It was fear that came from the bottom of its heart. Chu Bei threw the purple gold divine dragon back to the ground and then looked up at the azure dragon above. His face revealed a look of pity. You're seriously injured. The azure dragon's 1,000-foot-long dragon body was covered in blood. Countless wounds were torn open, and it was a ghastly sight. Dense bloody holes pierced through its body, causing the front and back to be transparent. It was a horrible sight to behold. Oh my God, Dragon Emperor, who did this? How could they injure you to this extent? The baby dragon moved to Chu Bei's side with a face full of anger. The azure dragon seemed to have heard the baby dragon's words. Its huge body, which was like a chain of mountains, kept rolling. The rumbling sound shattered the void, and dense cracks spread out from the void. The dragon's roar was mixed with pain, as if it was venting the pain in its heart. As the Eastern Divine Dragon, you've done your best. The final battle is coming. With your current recovery speed, I'm afraid you won't be able to make it in time. Chu Bei put his hands behind his back and looked at the azure dragon calmly, pretending to be an expert. Hearing Chu Bei's words, the azure dragon's eyes suddenly focused. Its huge bloodshot eyes locked onto Chu Bei. Then, it opened its mouth wide, and the dragon's roar became louder and louder, filled with a strong sense of unwillingness. Your origin is too badly injured. It's difficult for you to recover by yourself. If you follow me and let me heal you, you can still make it in time for the final battle. Chu Bei looked at the 1,000-foot-long azure dragon calmly. As he spoke, he waved his sleeve, and a ball of dragon vitality that he obtained from the All Heavens Merchant City flowed along the azure dragon. As the dragon vitality was transferred to the countless wounds, the azure dragon's body gradually calmed down, and the pain on its face gradually reduced. Thank you. A hint of gratitude appeared in the 1,000-foot-long azure dragon's eyes. Its huge head turned toward Chu Bei. After spitting out 2 syllables with difficulty, a dragon's roar reverberated throughout the ancient city. Then, the azure dragon's 1,000-foot-long dragon body turned into a ray of light and swept into Chu Bei's body. Host has signed a contract with the first-grade proxy Catherine and received the Great Dragon Saber. Mission completed. Progress of activating the Level 14 Commodity Authority is 70%. Host is rewarded with the right to use a Level 16 commodity once. Mission 7. Host enters the Heavenly Realm and signs a contract with the first-grade proxy Merciless Fairy. When the Great Dragon Saber entered Chu Bei's body, the system's voice sounded. With the completion of the mission, Chu Bei now had the right to use a Level 16 commodity twice. Master, what about the Great Dragon Saber? Chun Nan asked tentatively. It has chosen to follow me, Chu Bei replied calmly. You really scared me to death. Hearing Chu Bei's words, the purple gold divine dragon returned to its previous ruffian appearance and lay on the baby dragon's body carelessly. The East. I want to go there. At that moment, a piece of warm jade flew out from Chu Bei's arms. A woman's intermittent voice was heard. That's not a safe place. Looking at the direction Dugu Xiaoxian was pointing at and combining it with the system map, he already knew where Dugu Xiaoxian wanted to go. It was also because he knew that he was hesitating. Once he went there, the entire human world and even the heavenly realm would be in an immeasurable uproar. Bring me there. Dugu Xiaoshuan's intermittent voice was heard again. Her words were filled with pleading. After thinking for a moment, Chu Bei sighed faintly. Since he had the right to use a level 16 commodity, he would satisfy her request. After making the decision, Chu Bei immediately moved. He held the warm jade and brought Chen Nan and the others to the east. As they continued to go deeper, the scenery in this dead world gradually became lively and the greenery became thicker. The only thing that did not change was that they still could not see any ferocious beasts. After flashing towards the east for nearly 1,000 kilometers, Chu Bei stopped. The area below was already like a fairyland. Jade flowers bloomed, fragrant grass covered the ground, and clear springs gurgled. It was a delightful scenery. Master, those are snow maple trees. Smelling the familiar refreshing fragrance, Chen Nan looked over. When he found the source of the fragrance, his expression froze and his eyes focused. He saw countless tall snow maple trees with lush branches and green leaves standing in the mountains. Countless snow-white petals decorated the branches and leaves, like snowflakes blooming. To Chen Nan, the snow maple tree was a plant that left a deep impression on him. This was because he had only seen it in the graveyard of the gods and devils. Master, didn't they say that the snow maple trees were formed by the spiritual energy of the gods and devils that had passed away? Why are there so many of them here? Chen Nan was confused. You'll know when we get down. As his calm voice fell, Chu Bei led the group behind him and flew over the tall snow maple trees. How? How is this possible? After a long while, Chen Nan looked at the scene in front of him in shock. His eyes were filled with disbelief. There were rows and rows of tall tombstones. The layout was almost exactly the same as the graveyard of the gods and devils that he had revived in. Holy light shrouded the tombstones. 8-winged angels were dancing on them. There were also chief gods holding golden holy swords wandering around. Clearly, these were all illusions formed by the powerful divine consciousness of the deceased gods and devils. Master, why? Why is there also a graveyard of the gods and devils here? Chen Nan's gaze was fixed on Chu Bei. Chapter 376. Could it be that this place was once the battlefield of the gods? Chen Nan voiced out his guess. He really wanted to know what happened between these gods and demons. What kind of era was the War of the Heavens era? Oh my God! I feel the auras of many of my kind here. The baby dragon carefully ran to Chu Bei's side. In such a place, it realized that only by sticking close to this mysterious expert would it feel more at ease. The purple gold dragon was also dumbfounded. Looking at the tomb of the gods and demons, its pupils dilated rapidly. So many powerful existences. Even at my peak, I was no match for them. Even such powerful existences would die, and a large number of them would die. Oh my God, what happened in this damned place? Catherine was also incomparably shocked. I heard from the elves in the clan that there is a tomb of the gods and demons in the middle of the continent. There are eastern immortals and western gods and demons buried there. I didn't expect there to be such a tomb of the gods and demons in the eternal forest. I just don't know which of the two tombs of the gods and demons is bigger. You will know some things about the War of the Heavens era in the future. Chu Bei continued to perfunctorily talk to Chen Nan. Just as he finished speaking, Wen Yu, who was staying with Dugu Xiaoxian, took the lead and flew in a direction. Seeing this, Chu Bei and the rest quickly followed and arrived at the deepest part of the tomb of the gods and demons. This was a thatched hut similar to the one in the tomb of the gods and demons in the center of the Tianxian continent. Pushing open the door, the furnishings inside were very simple. There was only a bed, a table, a chair, and a stone platform. There was nothing else. Master, now it seems that the tomb keeper is not simple. Chen Nan thought of the hunchbacked old man and could not help but sigh. What do you think? Chu Bei smiled noncommittally. He was more than just not simple. The other party was formed by the life and death plate and had the strength of a peak heaven stage. He was one of the most powerful beings in this world. At the same time, he was also the master who imprisoned the great god Dugu Baiyan's wife, Xianxian. Look, that demon stopped there. The purple gold dragon was clearly still holding a grudge against Wen Yu for devouring his dragon essence and calling him a demon. At this moment, Wen Yu was hovering on a stone platform in the house, emitting a faint purple fluorescence. The stone platform was strangely shaped, very much like the general appointing platform. On one side of it, there were two lines of carvings. Upon closer inspection, they were two shocking sentences. Billions of living beings as soldiers, millions of gods and devils as generals. Master, this should be an immortal treasure. Chuannan pointed at the general appointing platform and couldn't help but ask Chu Bei. When he saw the two imposing lines, his heart inexplicably surged with a desire to fight. Chu Bei shook his head. To be precise, this should be a precious treasure of the heavens and the earth, and it was far more formidable than an immortal treasure. The general appointing platform was refined by the Devil Master. As for the Demon Lord, even in the upcoming final battle, he would still be one of the four strongest experts. Under the gazes of Chen Nan, Catherine, and the others, Chu Bei slowly stepped forward and placed his right hand flat on the stone platform. In the next moment, the stone platform trembled violently, and before anyone could react, it rapidly expanded. Rumble. With a loud bang, the thatched cottage was crushed by the stone platform. In just a few seconds, the stone platform expanded to a radius of 1,000 feet, carrying Chu Bei and the others into the sky. At the same time, a majestic and unfathomable power erupted, vast and mighty in this small world. Chu Bei and the others stood on the general appointing platform and scanned the millions of tombstones below. Rumble. The general appointing platform swayed, bringing with it a shocking rumble. Surging demonic aura surged out and poured down towards the cemetery below. This terrifying power was like the heavens pressing down on the earth. This small world began to tremble as if it would be destroyed at any moment. Under the shroud of the demonic aura, the cemetery of gods and devils below began to shake violently. The tombs began to slowly crack as pairs of hands reached out from the ground. What the hell is this? It's too scary. The baby dragon shrank its neck. Amidst the rumbling, the general appointing platform moved. Just as it was about to land in the cemetery, the entire cemetery of gods and devils erupted. Loud roars came from the ancient cemetery. The terrifying roars of gods and devils seemed to connect heaven and earth, reaching the 3 realms and 6 paths. Roar. The terrifying roars were like evil spirits from hell that were about to rush out of their cages. The ground rumbled and trembled continuously. The souls of the dead gods and devils that had yet to dissipate seemed like they were about to rush out. The entire cemetery of gods and devils was in an uproar. At the same time, whether it was the heaven realm or the human realm, a huge commotion happened in many holy lands and sections. In the central region of the Tianyuan continent, in the cemetery of gods and devils, the dead gods and devils that had originally calmed down emerged from the ground once again. They floated above the snow maple tree and let out mournful howls as illusions wreaked havoc. The gods are dead, the demons are destroyed, the sky is shattered, the earth is collapsing. The gravekeeper old man walked out of the thatched cottage leisurely with his walking stick. He looked to the west and muttered to himself, "The general appointing platform has also appeared because of you. What else do you want to do?" Upon closer inspection, there was a reflection in the gravekeeper old man's eyes. The reflection showed the scene of Chu Bei and the others standing on the general appointing platform. In the eastern part of the Tianyuan continent, in the Tantai ancient sacred land. In the forbidden area, a black-clothed man flew out in a panic and barged into the main hall of the sacred land. His voice trembled as he said, "Sacred Lord, something bad has happened. The sealed demons are rebelling, and a phenomenon has appeared in the sealed land. Please go out and take a look." Hearing this, the man's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly stood up from his seat and soared into the air. He took the lead and flew out of the hall. The others in the hall followed closely behind. At this moment, the disciples and elders of the Tantai ancient sacred land put down what they were doing and looked at the sky above the forbidden area. In the sky above the forbidden area, demonic chi surged into the sky. At this moment, a vivid scene was playing out. In the scene, a group of people stood on a huge stone platform. Strange phenomena appeared around the stone platform. Below were thousands of collapsed tombstones. Ghostly shadows wreaked havoc, and terrifying illusions filled the air. What is that place? What happened? It looks like the cemetery of gods and devils in the center of the continent. Could it be there? The cemetery of gods and devils isn't far from here, and we have people monitoring it at all times. If it's really there, the brothers outside should have already sent out the news. Who are they? And that huge stone platform, is that an immortal artifact? It can actually fly on its own. Shouldn't we be more concerned about the illusions appearing in those tombstones? There's even a 12-winged angel. What a terrifying existence. What I don't understand is why this scene is projected in the sky above the forbidden area. I wonder if the other sacred lands have such a phenomenon. In the Tantai ancient sacred land, a group of disciples gathered in twos and threes to discuss the scene above the forbidden area. What did old Six say? The sacred land sect master looked back at the black-clothed man behind him. Although the cemetery of gods and devils also emitted mournful howls, I didn't see this stone platform. It shouldn't be the same place, the black-clothed man said respectfully. Could it be that there are really two cemetery of gods and devils? The sacred land sect master frowned. It's them. But at this moment, a woman in snow-white clothes next to the sacred land sect master exclaimed, "Ku'er, do you know them?" The sacred land sect master hurriedly asked, "Master, do you see the man standing at the front? He's the mysterious person I mentioned to you before who casually killed the invincible ancient corpses. As for the black-clothed youth behind him, he's the one who obtained the inheritance of the nameless fiend god." Meng Ku'er bit her lip and pointed at Chu Bei. What is this person trying to do? After listening to Meng Ku'er, the sacred land sect master frowned. I'm afraid that the continent that has been peaceful for many years will once again become chaotic because of him. At the same time, in the Godwind Academy, Chu Ao looked at the scene that suddenly appeared in the sky in disbelief, and the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. What is Senior doing? I feel that something big is going to happen soon. Chu Yu's eyes were filled with confusion. Where are they? It seems to be very similar to the cemetery of gods and devils. Those fiend gods who have been dead for thousands of years have emerged from the ground. Are they coming back from the dead? Yifeng took a deep breath. For thousands of years, our academy's Wang Chuan mirror has never acted strangely. But today, such a scene was reflected, and the person shown in the image was that mysterious senior of unknown origin. But begging him to appear is a blessing for us, not a curse. West of Tianyuan continent, Church of Light. The 18 levels of hell below the temple trembled violently, and demonic howls shook the sky. The clergymen, like the people of the Tantai's sacred land, looked up in horror at the sky above the temple. Pope, the 18 levels of hell are rioting, and those sealed fiend gods in history are about to rush out. This is not something we can stop. Those powerful fiend gods should not have stayed in our human world. If they really rush out, the people of the heaven realm will take action. The old man who was called the Pope did not have much panic on his face. After speaking, he frowned and looked at Chu Bei and the others in the image, sighing, "Now, the eternal forest is no longer peaceful, and chaos is not far away." Not only the Tantai sacred land and western sect, but many ancient forces on the continent also inexplicably showed the same scene. If Chu Bei knew all this, he would definitely shout that he was being broadcasted live in this world. Heaven Realm, West. In the Temple of the Goddess of Wisdom, 6 figures sat in 2 rows in an orderly manner. At this moment, the 6 people's gazes were cast on the scene in front of them. Their actions all revealed the aura of a superior. What do you think about this? The Goddess of Wisdom, Grace, frowned and turned to look at the other 5 gods beside her. The information from below says that this cemetery is not the one we know. In my opinion, it should be in the 3rd world, the Goddess of Life said calmly. It's a pity that we can't see their cultivation just by looking at the image. The God of Thunder narrowed his eyes, the thunder hammer in his hand crackling non-stop. However, the stone platform under their feet seems to be a treasure with the power to destroy the world. They should be Eastern cultivators. What I don't understand is what exactly they did to cause such chaos among those fiend gods who have been dead for tens of thousands of years. Fortunately, the corpses of these ancient fiend gods were buried in the third world. Otherwise, even the heaven realm would not be at peace. One person's expression was solemn, and his words were filled with relief. I wonder if the people in the East know about this. Another person said, at this moment, not only the Western heaven realm, but also the Eastern heaven realm. In front of every celestial cave abode, cultivators gathered in twos and threes, discussing the image that suddenly appeared. All of their gazes were locked onto Chu Bei in the image, and they discussed animatedly with different expressions. Chapter 377. The Eternal Forest. Just as the various forces of the heaven realm and the human realm were paying attention to the scene, in the sky above the second graveyard of gods and demons, Chan Nan, Catherine, and the others were extremely shocked. Oh my God! I didn't expect this lousy stone to be so capable. The baby dragon grabbed Chu Bei's arm tightly with both hands as it blinked its large eyes. If it wasn't for the pain from slapping itself, it would have thought that it was having a nightmare. On the other hand, the ruffian-like purple-gold divine dragon had a solemn expression on its face. It was rare for it to be serious. It lay quietly on the baby dragon's back, solemnly sizing up the tombs of gods and demons below. Master, I feel that there's an invisible force restraining them, preventing them from escaping their respective tombs. Chan sensed some clues and probed Chu Bei. In the tombs below, thousands of sharp claws were dancing. Some were badly mutilated, and some were covered in white bones. They were like layers of waves, but no matter how they struggled or howled, they were unable to completely leave the tombstones. Just as Chin Nan finished speaking, before Chu Bei could answer, the general appointing stone beneath his feet shook. In the next moment, two lines on one side of the general appointing stone were projected into the sky, emitting endless blood light. Almost at the same time, a majestic voice that seemed to come from the primordial era resounded in this world. Billions of living beings as soldiers, millions of gods and demons as generals. As the majestic voice sounded, a strange scene happened below. Plop, plop. Millions of gods and demons emerged from the tombs below and knelt down towards the general appointing platform in unison. They were mumbling something, and all of them were extremely pious. Although they had been dead for tens of thousands of years, there was still a lingering fighting spirit on their bodies. Amidst this majestic voice that seemed to come from the ancient times, the fighting spirit became even stronger. Who were these gods and demons fighting tens of thousands of years ago? Who killed them? Catherine's face was a little pale. She glanced at the general appointing platform beneath her feet. What exactly is it? To be able to make so many gods and demons submit and kneel down. In the end, Catherine's gaze landed on Chu Bei's figure in front of her. In her opinion, perhaps only this mysterious person knew the cause and effect of this. Master, where is the heaven you speak of? How strong is he? Could it be that these gods and devils all died while fighting the heavens? Also, what is the origin of the stone platform under our feet? Qian Nan glanced at the gods and devils kneeling before him. He could no longer maintain his calm. His originally calm state of mind was instantly shaken. Chu Bei pointed at the distant sky, and his expression became serious. The heavenly Tao has always been there. It's just that your cultivation isn't high enough, and you think that the sky is just the sky. After coming to the divine tomb plane, Chu Bei had some guesses in his heart. Including the demon lord, the ghost lord, and the others, the heavens should be limited to the divine tomb plane. Beyond that, there was an even vaster region that could accommodate all the planes in the universe. However, in comparison, the plane where the divine tomb was situated was more powerful than the Dolua and Dolua planes, but weaker than the shrouding sky and journey to the West Plains. Now that he had personally witnessed the commotion caused by the Devil Lord's general appointing platform, Chu Bei's heart was still in turmoil, as expected of one of the real plotters behind the scenes. In the distant sky, the two blood-red words became brighter and brighter. In the end, they intersected and enlarged infinitely, projecting themselves above the entire small world. No matter where one was, as long as one looked up, they would be able to see these blood-red words. Billions of living beings as soldiers, millions of gods and devils as generals. The majestic voice still drifted between heaven and earth. At the same time, everyone in the heaven realm and the human world who saw this scene and heard this majestic voice felt a huge sense of sorrow. At this moment, it seemed that everyone was affected by this emotion, and their hearts were inexplicably filled with despair. I remember now. My name is Duga Xiaoxian. I want to fight alongside you. At this moment, the warm jade in front of Chu Bei suddenly released a gorgeous light, and a clear female voice sounded from it. Then, it trembled slightly, and under several gazes, a woman's figure floated out. The woman was dressed in a purple robe. She was elegant and had an aura of lightness about her. The one who sucked my dragon essence dry wasn't that demon, but you. But looking at you, you can be considered a beauty. The appearance of the woman caused the purple gold divine dragon to roar. Do you want to die? Dugu Xiaoxian coldly glanced at the purple gold divine dragon, and a superior aura seeped out from her body, and an unparalleled pressure enveloped the purple gold divine dragon. Meeting Dugu Xiaoxuan's cold gaze, the purple gold divine dragon shrunk its neck and hurriedly hid behind Chu Bei. It didn't dare to let out a fart, and its cowardly look looked like it had met its love. Brother, so there's a big sister hidden in Master's jade. No wonder Master kept talking to the jade. Little Chen she stayed in Chen Nan's arms, blinking her big eyes and curiously sizing up Dugu Xiaoxian. Dugu Xiaoxian looked at little Chen Shi and nodded with a smile. When her gaze shifted to Chen Nan, her expression first froze, and then her body suddenly trembled. Dugu Xiaoxian seemed to be in a daze. After a long while, she softly murmured, "Brother. In this life, he's called Chen Nan, not your brother." Chu Bei placed his hands behind his back and smiled at Dugu Xiaoxian calmly. "I don't know who you are, but thank you for bringing me here. If it weren't for that Loach's dragon essence and the general appointing platform's aura, I'm afraid my memories would only awaken after another 1,000 years." Dugu Xiaoxian nodded slightly at Chu Bei. She intentionally sent a powerful divine sense towards Chu Bei, but this divine sense did not return. In the next moment, a solemn expression appeared on Dugu Xiaoxuan's face. Her probing was actually useless. That person whom she couldn't see through directly ignored her attack, especially when the other party looked at her with an expression that was extremely similar to how her father used to look at her. It was a kind of teasing and indifferent attitude, treating what she was doing as a child playing around. "Did you just call me brother?" Chen Nan came back to his senses and recalled Dugu Xiaoxuan's previous call. He looked straight at her, his eyes filled with deep confusion. "You can pretend that you didn't hear it. With your current strength, there are some things that the less you know, the better." Dugu Xiaoxian glanced at Chen Nan and pointed at Chu Bei. "Senior, I've already told you enough." Although Dugu Xiaoxian didn't test Chu Bei's strength, she was very sure that this person was either the reincarnation of a primordial god with his past memories or an ancient god who had survived the War of the Heavens era. "Hee, strength again." Chen Nan mocked with an ugly expression. "What kind of cultivation base do I have to reach to know the secrets from 10,000 years ago?" Chu Bei and Dugu Xiaoxian didn't reply. To Chen Nan, there was still a long, long way to go. The Church of Light. Rumble. The temple in the center of the church suddenly shook. Demonic aura surged from the ground, and a murderous aura soared into the sky. Not good. The Pope and the clergy hurriedly flew out of the hall. When they saw the demonic aura that enveloped half the sky, their expressions changed. "Pope, what's going on?" "Seal it first," the Pope shouted. Without any hesitation, the clergy immediately unleashed their radiant saint force and worked together to seal the divine hall. In an instant, countless rays of dazzling light shone from all directions, enveloping the divine temple below. However, the 7 most powerful people in the church, including the Pope, couldn't stop the temple from shaking. They couldn't dispel the murderous aura that soared into the sky from the ground. One of the clergy kept moving his hands, his palms crisscrossing. He was puzzled. "Pope, what's going on with such a powerful and terrifying murderous aura? Could it be that some ancient demon sealed in the 18th layer of hell is about to break out?" Faced with the terrifying demonic aura surging from the ground, even with his peak rank 6 strength, he felt powerless and couldn't help but tremble in fear. The Pope shook his head and said in a serious tone, "This murderous aura doesn't come from an ancient demon. If it's not a seal demon, then—" Hearing the Pope's words, the clergy looked at him and asked anxiously, "Demon suppression stone?" The Pope sighed and began to recount the secrets passed down from the previous popes to the next one. The people of the continent know that there are 18 layers of hell under the headquarters of the Church of Light, but they don't know that the 18 layers of hell are a strange, multi-layered space created by an ancient great power. It's also a place to imprison the most vicious people in the world. The 18 layers of hell actually appeared before the Church of Light. 10,000 years ago, the Temple of Light was set up here to guard the 18 layers of hell. The terrifying fiend gods imprisoned in the 18 levels of hell are far stronger than we can ever hope to match up to. Fortunately, when the church was just established, a 3-meter-tall demon stone flew from the sky and landed on the 18 layers of hell. When that demon stone landed, the riot in the 18 layers of hell quieted down. It seemed to have suppressed the demons imprisoned in hell. For this reason, the Temple of Light used this stone as the foundation to build the present Temple of Light. The clergy was surprised. "Your Holiness, you mean that the riot was caused by the demon suppression stone?" Without waiting for the Pope to speak, the hall exploded. An unparalleled, terrifying energy sent the Pope and the other 6 clergy elders flying. In the next moment, the hall collapsed completely, and a section of a huge black rock appeared. This huge stone seemed to be able to absorb light. After it appeared, the originally bright sky instantly dimmed. Looking at it carefully, this black stone was like a bottomless pit. Just looking at it made one feel like they had lost their soul. It was as if it could devour one's mind. "It's out." The Pope stared at the black stone, and his pupils suddenly shrank. Kaboom! Another loud sound, and the earth trembled. Then, the demon suppression stone rose from the ground and turned into a long rainbow, completely disappearing from the sight of the Pope and the clergy. "Your Holiness, quickly look at that image." In the blink of an eye, one of the clergy pointed to the sky and cried out. The Pope looked up, and when he saw the image clearly, his expression froze. The demon suppression stone that had disappeared a second ago was now inserted in the center of the graveyard of gods and demons, like a huge tombstone. "Master, what is this? Where did it come from?" On the general appointing platform, Qiannan pointed at the black stone that had suddenly been inserted in the center of the graveyard of gods and demons. He looked at Chu Bei with a puzzled gaze. This was a stone tablet that was 30 feet tall. It was black and lifeless, and there were traces of blood on it. It looked exceptionally evil. The general appointing platform has appeared, and the mausoleum is in chaos. "You're here too." Chu Bei narrowed his eyes and let out a long breath. The black demon suppression stone stood in the middle of thousands of tombstones. It looked much taller than the other tombstones, even more like a tombstone. Bright red blood stained its surface, making it look very evil, like a king of tombstones. After its arrival, the deafening clamor of the graveyard of gods and demons instantly fell silent. It stood in the middle of the tombstones. Although it did not move, the aura of death it exuded far surpassed that of all the tombstones in the graveyard of gods and demons combined. Buzz, buzz. The demon suppression stone trembled slightly and let out a series of rumbles. The souls and corpses of the gods and demons that were kneeling before the general appointing platform actually slowly returned to their tombs. "Oh my God! Another amazing thing has come." Looking at the gods and demons that retreated below, the dragon baby moved its throat and could not help but cry out. Qiannan, Catherine, and the others also looked shocked. All of them sized up the demon suppression stone again, their faces full of astonishment. Although there was no surprise in Dugu Xiaoshuan's expression, her eyes were already red, and there was a strong sense of longing. Chu Bei was the only one whose expression hadn't changed since the beginning. In a few breaths' time, the thousands of gods and demons' corpses all returned to their tombs. The cracked ground slowly closed, and the shattered tombstones also reconnected under an unknown force. At first glance, it was as if nothing had happened in the graveyard of gods and demons. There was only a tombstone in the middle with a blood demon stone. Although everything had returned to normal, this unusual silence made one's heart palpitate. The demon suppression stone was originally an item of heaven, but because it was stained with the blood of the ancient taboo god, Dugu Baitian, it was refined in the end. Master, they seem to be enemies. Chun Nan glanced at the demon suppression stone below, and then looked at the general appointing platform beneath his feet, his brows tightly knitted together. The general appointing platform and the demon suppression stone interweaved with various lights, and undercurrents surged. Boom! Suddenly, the general appointing platform erupted with a dazzling divine light. Immediately after, its 1,000-feet-long body quickly shrank to the size of the demon suppression stone. Then, it smashed down towards the demon suppression stone below, finally hovering 10 meters above it and continuously circling. At this moment, the demon suppression stone was no longer silent. The bright red blood stains on its body became even more dazzling and gorgeous, emitting waves of evil light. This continued until blood flowed down and dyed the stone tablet red. The general appointing platform spun faster and faster. In the end, it directly transformed into a huge black shadow that coiled above the demon suppression stone. A dull and oppressive aura filled the entire graveyard of gods and demons. Looking at the demon suppression stone again, the evil blood flowing out of it had already dripped to the ground, as if it had turned into a blood tablet. Chapter 378. Roar. Suddenly, a roar that seemed to come from the primordial times sounded from the general appointing platform. In the next moment, the general appointing platform suddenly smashed towards the demon-suppressing stone with supreme divine might. Almost at the same time, the demon-suppressing stone rose from the ground and faced the attack. Rumble. Amidst the shocking collision, a wave of blood soared into the sky. Blood flowed out from the demon-suppressing stone, turning into a wave of blood that blotted out the sky and blocked the impact of the general appointing platform. Billions of living beings as soldiers, millions of god-fiends as generals. The general appointing platform floated above the blood wave, and a vigorous voice sounded from within. The 12 intersecting blood-red words in the distant sky emitted endless blood light and once again smashed towards the demon-suppressing stone below. Splash! The monstrous blood wave was instantly dispersed, revealing the demon-suppressing stone below. However, at this moment, an extremely abnormal change also occurred to the demon-suppressing stone. For ghastly blood-red words were projected from the 4 sides of the blood-red tablet. Exterminate, kill, seal. On the demon-suppressing stone, the 4 blood-red words were projected into the sky from 4 directions. Then, they charged towards the 12 blood-red words on the general appointing platform. Clang, clang, clang. The blood-red words intertwined and collided, bringing about a series of deafening clangs that were like the sound of death. Master, are these 2 supreme treasures fighting? Chun Nan was dumbfounded when he saw the scene on the battlefield below. The battle between the general appointing platform and the demon-suppressing stone didn't seem like a battle between 2 inanimate objects, but more like a battle between 2 people. Could it be that there's a controller behind each of these 2 inanimate objects? The general appointing platform can make millions of god-fiends kneel, and the demon-suppressing stone can suppress millions of god-fiends and make them return to the divine tomb. How terrifying are the strength of these 2 controllers! Catherine muttered to herself. When she thought of this, her heart pounded violently. Then, she couldn't help but look at Chu Bei, as if she was guessing if her master's cultivation base could compete with those 2 controllers. How can this be? Why are you killing each other? You're clearly on the same side. Dugu Xiaoshuan's expression was blank as she looked at the demon-suppressing stone and the general appointing platform that were fighting below. She kept muttering, and the space between her brows was filled with deep confusion. She couldn't understand why 2 people who clearly knew each other would want to kill each other. Its target is the demon suppression stone, not the bloodstains on it. Just as Dugu Xiaoxian was puzzled, Chu Bei crossed his arms in front of his chest and said indifferently. Hearing Chu Bei's words, Du Xiaoxian frowned. What's the difference? The blood belongs to your father, but the demon-suppressing stone belongs to Qing Tian, Chu Bei replied. But this devil-suppressing stone has already been refined by Lord Father. Du Xiaoxian clenched her fists. No matter what, I have to stop them from continuing to fight. As her cold voice fell, Du Xiaoxian instantly appeared behind the devil-suppressing stone. She clenched her right hand, and purple light wrapped around the stone like vines. The conversation between Chu Bei and Du Xiaoxian naturally confused Chen Nan, Catherine, and the rest. The fact that Du Xiaoxian was able to join the battle between the two supreme treasures shocked them even more. They never would have thought that this woman's strength had already reached such a terrifying level. No matter which supreme treasure it was, they were all existences that could make thousands of god fiends submit. Who are you? It was also at this moment that a cold snort suddenly sounded in this world. The sudden shout caused the souls of Chen Nan and the rest to tremble. Immediately after, a hazy purple mist appeared in the east of the graveyard of god fiends, less than 1,000 feet away from them. In the purple mist, 2 green lights suddenly appeared. They were so evil and terrifying as they coldly stared at them. Chun Nan looked vigilant. His intuition told him that it was a pair of eyes. Regardless of whether it was a human, demon, or beast, they were definitely the eyes of a creature with terrifying strength. This was the third living creature they had encountered after entering the Eternal Forest, apart from Catherine and the Headless Angel. Chu Bei, who had a god's view, smiled knowingly when he saw the 2 green lights in the purple mist. As the commotion caused by the demon suppression stone and the general appointing platform was too great, the master of this world had also appeared. Of course, this master was just a chess piece. Damn, which great god is this? The purple gold divine dragon stared at the hazy purple mist and shrank its neck. Just as the purple mist appeared, the general appointing platform suddenly broke away from the battle with the demon suppression stone and instantly appeared under the purple mist. At the same time, the owner of the pair of soul-stirring eyes in the purple mist stood on the general appointing platform. The 2 green lights made one shudder. The moment the mysterious person appeared, the demon suppression stone trembled slightly. The 4 words exterminate, kill, seal above it also returned to the bloodstains. I thought you would always have more. Du Xiaoxian stood beside the demon suppression stone and glanced at the hazy purple mist. It was as if she had long sensed the existence of the mysterious person in the purple mist. Her leisurely voice was like a thunderclap that drifted between heaven and earth. Master, is he the owner of the general appointing platform? Is he the owner of this eternal forest? Did the millions of god fiends kneel to him? Chen Nan looked at Chu Bei and asked a few questions in a row. In his opinion, this mysterious person was definitely a super big shot. He should be one of the so-called strategists. No, he's just a chess piece in the game. Chu Bei glanced at Chen Nan, shook his head, and replied indifferently. The so-called mysterious person in the hazy purple mist could be considered a pitiful person. He had always thought that he was the strongest person in the world, the mastermind behind the scenes. Little did he know that he was just a chess piece on someone else's chessboard. Where did this demon stone come from? In the purple mist, the owner of the 2 green lights merely snorted coldly, causing the void to tremble and cracks to spread. I should be the one asking you this. Why is the general appointing platform under your control? As cold in the forest shout fell, Du Xiaoxian waved her right hand, and a faint purple light was released from her palm, instantly enveloping this world. At the same time, Chu Bei, Chen Nan, and the others were enveloped by a faint purple ball of light, protecting them in all directions. Chen Nan sized up his surroundings, and a hint of surprise flashed across his eyes. He could no longer see the graveyard of gods and devils below. There was only endless purple light, that woman, and the demon-suppressing stone beside her. Other than that, there was only the mysterious person not far away and the general appointing platform under his feet. That's exactly what I wanted. I was afraid that the following battle would destroy my small world. To ensure that nothing goes wrong, I'll reinforce it. A burst of laughter came from the purple mist. Following that, an arm stretched out. With a wave, a layer of strange black light was mixed in the endless purple light. What does the demon suppressing stone have to do with you? What's his relationship with the general appointing platform? Why did the general appointing platform attack the demon suppressing stone? Why? Since he couldn't get any answers from Chu Bei, Chun and could only turn his attention to Dugu Xiaoxian. He really couldn't wait to solve all the mysteries. This feeling was like he had clearly grasped onto something, but it was useless. It wasn't the key point. For the current you, ignorance is bliss. Dugu Xiaoxian glanced at Chun Nan and could not help but sigh. Although her voice was a little cold, it was as beautiful as the sound of nature. Some people don't understand. They chased after it their entire lives, but in the end, they couldn't help but fall silent in the graveyard of gods and devils. Some things can't end once they start. Those who are qualified to play the game are actually playing with their own lives. They can't quit halfway until the game ends. Dugu Xiaoshuan's words confused Chun Nan. Life is like a game of chess. The world is just a big game, and all living beings are chess pieces on the board. Unfortunately, I left midway, but I'm still one of the most powerful players. I'm back. Towards the end, Dugu Xiaoshuan's voice became louder and louder. In the end, it was like divine thunder from the 9 heavens, surging through this world. I'm back. It was also at this moment that this loud and impassioned voice echoed through all the factions that had a projection, whether it was the human world or the heaven realm. In the graveyard of gods and devils in the central part of the Tianyuan continent, the gravekeeper sat by the straw hut and looked towards the west. A smile appeared on his lips. This child is really carved out of the same mold as Xianxian. In the Tantai ancient sacred ground in the eastern part of the Tianyuan continent, the elders and disciples couldn't help but cover their ears with both hands. But even so, the voice from the projection still shocked them. In the Church of Light in the western part of the Tianyuan continent, the Pope and the clergyman stared at Dugu Xiaoxian in the projection. Your Holiness, are there any records about this woman's deeds in the ancient records? She seems to know the demon suppression stone. Your Holiness, do you know what the general appointing platform is? It's the same as the demon suppression stone, a treasure of heaven and earth. Then why did the general appointing platform attack the demon suppression stone? Your Holiness, who exactly are they? Are they gods and devils that survived 10,000 years ago? The clergymen spoke one after another. All of you, shut up. If you ask me, who am I supposed to ask? The Pope shouted. What the hell did he know about these questions? Heaven realm, west. In the goddess of wisdom's temple, the 6 core gods looked at each other. Can you feel the aura flowing on her body? What kind of cultivation base does she have to be able to let her aura penetrate the void, and even we can feel it? Her aura makes my heart palpitate. What level of power is she at? Could she be a divine emperor? 100 years ago, by chance, I came into contact with a low-level divine emperor from the east. Although his strength was above mine, I dared to fight him. She, on the other hand, makes me afraid. From what you mean, she's at least a mid-level or even a Mahayana divine emperor. The ancient god disappeared overnight. Vaguely, I feel that there's another realm above the divine emperor realm. Maybe she has already touched or even stepped into that realm. In the temple, the 6 core gods had different expressions. While they were guessing, they continued to pay attention to the situation in the eternal forest. Who are you? Why don't I have a chess piece like you in my chess game? In the eternal forest, demonic aura surged. The general appointing platform hovered less than 1,000 feet away from Dugu Xiaoxian with a hazy purple fog. 2 dazzling green lights were filled with coldness. Your chess game? Haha, who do you think you are? Dugu Xiaoxian sneered. Her beautiful eyes were filled with disdain. Who do I think I am? These simple words caused the mysterious person hidden in the purple fog on the general appointing platform to be stunned. Gradually, the 2 green lights surged with killing intent. The faintly revealed figure shook violently a few times. It was obvious that it was completely enraged. That's interesting. Chu Bei glanced at Dugu Xiaoxian. Her straightforwardness made him laugh out loud. Chen Nan, the purple gold divine dragon, the baby dragon, and the others could not hide their laughter. Little Dawn's childish voice was vaguely mixed in their laughter. Why don't you ask him if he places you in his eyes? At this moment, Dugu Xiaoxian suddenly pointed her finger at Chu Bei. Chu Bei was stunned when he heard Dugu Xiaoxuan's words. He just wanted to watch the show, but the other party suddenly changed the topic to him. Sensing the cold gaze from the purple fog, Chu Bei coughed softly and shrugged. I don't care who you are or the origin of that stone. Since you've come to my inner world, you can only die. The mysterious person's voice was cold and filled with monstrous killing intent. No matter who dared to look down on him, the ruler of the world, they had to die. Chaotic yin and yang. Return to chaos. Primordial demon sealing curse. Primordial demon sealing seal. Before the mysterious person could make a move, Dugu Xiaoxian had already spoken. As soon as she shouted, countless curse and sealed words inexplicably surged out of the void in this imprisoned world. They rumbled and suppressed the hazy purple fog. Chi. Countless golden characters sank into the purple mist, instantly dispersing the surging purple mist. At this moment, the appearance of the mysterious person in the purple fog was completely revealed to everyone. His long hair was as red as blood, so red that it was shocking. The wrinkles on his old face were wrinkled and piled up like dried orange peels. In his deep eye sockets, a pair of green eyes were exceptionally cold. They were even scarier than the eyes of a wild beast that glowed green in the darkness. His skinny body was as thin and tall as a bamboo pole. His skin did not have the slightest luster as it wrapped around his skeleton-like body. He could really be called a bag of bones, with only an additional layer of skin compared to a skeleton. It made him look like a living ghost from hell. You do have the right to be arrogant. No wonder you dare to say that you're one of the strongest game players in the world. The skinny old man looked at Dugu Xiaoxian coldly. So you've also stepped into this realm. Chapter 379. Master, what realm are they talking about? Chun and first looked at the mysterious man and Dugu Xiaoxian. Then his gaze landed on Chu Bei as he asked curiously. In the human world, a Type 6 expert is known as a peerless expert. When one breaks through to the Type 7 realm, they will be brought to another world, which is the heavenly realm. The Type 7 realm is also known as the immortal martial realm. Most of the fairies and angels are at this realm. The Corpse King of the Chasing Corpse sect is at the peak of the Type 7 realm. After breaking through the immortal martial realm is the God King realm. At this realm, one can already establish a sect in the heavenly realm. Those who accept the faith of the people and call themselves gods are at this realm. Above that is the God Emperor realm, which is also the strongest in the heavenly realm. Experts at this realm can stay in seclusion for thousands of years. It's rare even in the heavenly realm. Chu Bei's calm voice sounded in Chun Nan's ears. Hearing Chu Bei's words, Chun Nan was overjoyed, and he quickly pointed at the mysterious man and Dugu Xiaoxian. Then, are they at the God Emperor realm? No. Chu Bei shook his head with a smile. There's an even higher realm above the God Emperor realm, called the heavenly realm. The heavenly realm is further divided into elementary, middle, great ascension, and peak. Every small realm is an insurmountable gap, and even after thousands of years of seclusion, it is hard to break through. The two of them are at the heavenly realm. Heavenly realm? Chun Nan was shocked, staring straight at Chu Bei. Master, didn't you say that the highest cultivation in the heavenly realm is at the God Emperor realm? Then why is there a heavenly realm above the God Emperor realm? Long Bao, Zijin Divine Dragon, Kathleen and the rest also perked up their ears, waiting for Chu Bei's next words. Their eyes were filled with shock and anticipation. Master was only talking about the current heavenly realm. A few years ago, with the cooperation of those behind the scenes, the heavenly realm was created. All the heaven realm experts were sealed in the third realm. In this era, if you want to meet a heaven realm expert again, I'm afraid you can only meet one in these extremely dangerous lost small worlds. Chu Bei straightened his clothes and said calmly, without any ripples in his voice, sealed in the third realm? Why did they have to be sealed? What was the cultivation level of the person who was able to seal them? Peak of the heaven realm? Or was there an even higher realm above the heaven realm? Master, What realm are you in? Qiannan looked at Chu Bei with a pleading expression. He clasped his hands together and sincerely sought an answer. He. Chu Bei gave Qiannan a look. He didn't say anything else and stopped when it came to it. The corners of Qiannan's mouth twitched as he cursed in his heart. He could only look at Dugu Shaoxian and the mysterious man again. It's a pity that you've only just entered this realm. After determining Dugu Xiaoxuan's realm, the skinny old man's face became a little more serious, but he didn't seem to be facing a great enemy. Let me experience your immemorial demon sealing curse and chaos demon sealing seal. As his cold voice fell, the skinny old man's eyes shot out two intertwined green lights formed by runes. His cold gaze was like a sharp sword as it swam among the countless curse and sealed characters. Clang, clang, clang. The collision between the green light and the seal wasn't very fancy, but it brought about a series of deafening and crisp sounds. The power contained in both of them was extremely restrained. It was as if they were watching a battle between two rank 3 cultivators. The difference was that once the energy spread out from the collision, even if the energy was negligible like a thread, it could cause the void to tremble and a large number of spatial cracks to spread. In the continuous collision, the number of seals decreased until they completely disappeared. As for the two dazzling green lights, they gradually became especially dim. They hovered in front of the mysterious man as if they would dissipate at any time. Master, who will win? After glancing at the battlefield, Qiannan's gaze fell on Chu Bei. You're called Qiannan now, right? I'll borrow your body and the Tai Chi God Demon diagram. Before Qiannan could wait for Chu Bei to answer his question, Dugu Xiaoxuan's voice had already rung in his ears. In the next moment, Dugu Xiaoxian turned into a purple light and entered Qiannan's body. Demoness, what the hell are you doing? Qiannan exclaimed. The moment Dugu Xiaoxian entered his body, he suddenly realized that he had lost control of his body. The only thing that was still under his control was his mouth. Master, save me. I'm being controlled by her. Qiannan hurriedly shouted at Chu Bei, his voice filled with fear. Don't be nervous. She's just borrowing your body. She won't hurt you. Chu Bei smiled at Qiannan. The reason why Dugu Xiaoxian borrowed Qiannan's body was naturally because she sensed the skinny old man's cultivation. With her current cultivation level, it would be difficult for her to win. She could only rely on the Tai Chi God Demon diagram. Under Dugu Xiaoxuan's control, Qiannan instantly appeared in front of the skinny old man. The two of them were less than a meter apart. F***CKU. Qiannan could not help but curse when he met the skinny old man's gaze at such a close distance. The skinny old man's gaze was like that of a wild beast. He stared at Qiannan with disdain, as if he was sizing up an ant. However, it was under such a gaze that Qiannan almost collapsed. His mind was on the verge of breaking down. It had to be said that in terms of cultivation level, Qiannan and the mysterious man were like heaven and earth. Just the other party's disdainful gaze almost caused him to lose his mind and die. At that moment, Qiannan truly experienced the terror of a heaven-state powerhouse. It was so perverse that no words could describe it. It was unfathomable and incomprehensible. There seems to be something incredible in this stinking bug's body. If I nurture him into a chess piece, he might be of some use. The skinny old man's gaze was fixed on Qiannan's chest. His words were emotionless. Stinking bug? Stinking bug my ass. Didn't you just reach heaven state and are slightly more powerful than me in terms of cultivation level? Could it be that you were born a powerhouse? Aren't you a human now? Qiannan gritted his teeth and endured the mysterious man's vast spiritual pressure. He immediately retaliated. Human? The skinny old man snorted coldly. He was expressionless. Don't compare such a filthy and weak race to me. I've long since surpassed the realm of humans. Right now, I'm high and mighty in this world. I'm the ruler who looks down on a weak bug like you. In front of me, you're not even a speck of dust. When he said this, the skinny old man did not have any human emotions. He stared at Qiannan coldly as if he was looking down on an animal. F***CKU. When he heard the skinny old man's words, Qiannan was about to go crazy. The other party's deep-rooted contempt for him made him extremely displeased. If it were not for the fact that he was not strong enough, he really wanted to slap this arrogant scum who thought he was the ruler of the world to death. You're not the only heaven state powerhouse. There's always someone better out there. Since you look down on humans so much, why do you keep your human appearance? Why don't you turn into a pig or dog? Chonnan licked his lips and added, there's always someone better out there? Do you know which An it is? What right does he have to be compared to me? The skinny old man glanced in Chubei's direction. His face was full of disdain. He continued, as for using a human appearance, it's just a stinking bag of skin. Even if I turn my body into a pig or dog, I'm still the ruler of this world. I'm a high and mighty existence. That's true. You don't think of yourself as a human anymore. You're now a mad dog. I shouldn't be angry at your contempt for a mad dog. If a person is bitten by a dog, should he bite back? Chonnan struggled to say these words. In truth, he did not want to give up on mocking the skinny old man. However, his mind could not take it anymore. Under the other party's majestic pressure, he was about to break down. The absolute difference in strength was a fact that could not be changed. Little Chunnan, thank you for successfully buying time for me. At this moment, Dugu Xiaoshuan's laughter came from Chunnan's body. Then, her body released a faint light. Under the cover of this light, Chunnan only felt his consciousness become incomparably clear, and the pressure that the mysterious person was exerting on him also disappeared in an instant. 9 Transformation Seal. Dugu Xiaoxian flew out of Chunnan's body. At the same time, she pushed out a Tai Chi diagram. In the Tai Chi diagram, 2 balls of light spun quickly, releasing a hazy light. Bang! There was a loud sound. Dugu Xiaoxian held the Tai Chi godly demon diagram and pressed it against the skinny old man's chest. The primordial demon sealing curse and demon sealing seal can't do anything to me. You want to use a diagram to seal me? What a joke. The skinny old man laughed coldly. However, as soon as his mocking voice fell, his expression changed. He exclaimed, "What did you do to me?" The skinny old man's face darkened. He realized that he could not move his body. After calming down, the mysterious man looked conflicted. He seemed to be hesitating, but at the same time, he seemed to be waiting to see what would happen. Demonic woman, he can't move? Chunnan realized that he had regained control of his body. He was excited. When he saw that the skinny old man was suppressed by Dugu Xiaoshuan's Tai Chi godly demon diagram, his smile widened. He revealed a sinister look. Kick the dog 500 times. After confirming that the skinny old man could not move, Chunnan laughed proudly. There was a sinister and ruthless look in his eyes. In the next moment, Chunnan jumped into the air and kicked the skinny old man continuously. Bang, bang, bang. In a breath's time, Chunnan had kicked the skinny old man 500 times. You're a stinking bug. You deserve to die. When I get rid of this stupid diagram, I'll make you wish you were dead. The skinny old man's wrinkled face turned the color of pig liver. It was not because of the pain. It could even be said that the person who felt the pain was Chunnan. The skinny old man's skin was so thick that it made Chunnan's legs feel like they were about to break. The skinny old man's face was dark because he was angry. He was humiliated. He claimed to be the ruler of heaven and earth. However, he was kicked by the stinking bug in his eyes. This made him extremely angry. His green eyes shone with a sinister light. The longer you live, the thicker your skin becomes. Chunnan's right hand turned into a sword radiance. He slashed a few times. However, the sword radiance was shattered by the recoil as soon as it hit the skinny old man. An ant will always be an ant. You want to hurt me? What a joke. The skinny old man sneered. His words were filled with disdain. I hate seeing that look in your eyes. Chunnan shouted. Then, he raised his hand and slapped the skinny old man. The sound was crisp and clear. Chapter 380. On the battlefield, the skinny old man, who had been looking down on Chunnan, was stunned by the sudden slap. After being stunned for a while, the skinny old man finally reacted and roared angrily, Kid, how dare you slap me? How dare you slap my face? How dare you humiliate me? A ruler. I'll kill you. I'll grind your bones to dust. His roar was filled with murderous intent. Slap. Chun Nan slapped the mysterious man's face again with a backhand. Ha ha ha. Dugu Xiaoxian, Chu Bei, Ruffian Dragon, Catherine, and the others who were watching from the side could not help but laugh. They laughed heartlessly. Dugu Xiaoxian stared at Chan Nan in satisfaction and spoke in a clear and melodious voice. Even though you can't hurt him at your level of cultivation, humiliating him like this is far more satisfying than killing him. Oh my God, this kid is too crazy. The purple gold divine dragon and the baby dragons watched with their mouths agape, as if they could not believe what they had just seen. In the Tianxian continent's cemetery of gods and devils, the old man who was guarding the cemetery with a walking stick could not help but smile. This kid really doesn't play by the rules. Stinking bug, how dare you humiliate me like this? I'll send you into the cycle of reincarnation and torture you for 100 lifetimes. The skinny old man's eyes were bloodshot, and he was furious. He glared fiercely at Chan Nan with his green eyes. He had lived for tens of thousands of years and had never been humiliated like this. However, although his murderous intent filled the sky, he did not make a move. He only glared at Chun Nan angrily. Can't you see the situation before you? You can't even move now, and you still dare to look at me like this? Even if you're some *T Heaven Realm elite, I'll still shatter your pride. Chun Nan was enraged when he met the skinny old man's disdainful gaze. He slapped his mouth continuously with both hands, and the crisp, slapping sounds were endless. Good kid, you're awesome. The purple gold divine dragon clapped his claws and cheered. He was also disgusted by the skinny old man's arrogance. It had also been trampled on by Chan Nan before, but now that it was a spectator, it was delighted to see the skinny old man being humiliated. On the other hand, Dugu Xiaoxian, who was also on the battlefield, gradually withdrew the smile on her face. She seemed to have sensed something, and a serious expression appeared between her brows. Look at you. You keep saying that you're the high and mighty ruler, but why is your skin even harder than black iron? You're making my hand hurt. Chun Nan's tone was weird. His hands were twitching faster and faster. His words were filled with ridicule. Within a few breaths of time, the skinny old man had been slapped hundreds of times. His originally pig-liver-colored face had turned purplish-black from anger. I can't take it anymore. I want you to die now. The skinny old man seemed to have used all his strength to shout these words, and his killing intent became even colder. At this moment, Chun Nan felt an inexplicable sense of danger. It was as if the Grim Reaper had placed a scythe at his throat. Chun Nan's heart tightened. Without any hesitation, he hurriedly turned into a streak of golden light and flew away from the skinny old man towards Chu Bei. Rumble. The moment Chan Nan fled, a majestic and terrifying energy fluctuation swept out with the skinny old man as the center. The surging energy was like a river and an ocean, causing the surrounding purple light to explode and scatter in all directions. In the blink of an eye, the divine mausoleum below was clearly revealed. Under this terrifying energy fluctuation, several mountains in the distance collapsed with a loud bang. Rocks shot out, and smoke and dust billowed. Large patches of forest collapsed to the ground, and leaves fell. Several surging rivers surged out of the riverbanks and changed their course. The eruption of the skinny old man after breaking free from the Taiji God-Fiend diagram could be said to have caused the world to lose its color. It was as if this small world was about to collapse. You actually know how to make a blood sacrifice to the general appointing platform. Dugu Xiaoxian looked at the skinny old man and the blood-stained general appointing platform under his feet in astonishment. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Although sacrificing one's blood essence to the general appointing platform could forcefully break free from the restraints of the Taiji God-Fiend diagram, one's origin would also be severely injured. Normally, no one would take such an extreme path to reach the heaven realm. This was because once one's origin was injured, it would be extremely difficult to advance to the next level in the future. With the skinny old man's strength, Dugu Xiaoxian had never thought of using the Taiji God-Fiend diagram to kill him. She only wanted to use the time the Taiji God-fiend diagram restrained the skinny old man so that she could accumulate power and activate the ancient seal formation to seal the skinny old man for 100 years. After all, the Taiji God-fiend diagram could only seal the skinny old man for a few minutes. However, even if it was just a few minutes, the skinny old man could not wait any longer. He even wanted to break free from the Taiji God-fiend diagram immediately, even if his origin was severely injured. Because of this, the skinny old man's hatred for Qian Nan could be seen. Master, I seem to have miscalculated. This old man is stronger than I thought. Qian Nan felt a lingering fear as he sensed the skinny old man's increasingly terrifying aura. Previously, when the other party was trapped by the Taiji God-fiend diagram, he thought that the other party had no more tricks up his sleeve. All of you must die, especially you. I want to keep you alive and torture you slowly. The skinny old man was like a ferocious tiger. After glaring at Qian Nan coldly, he took the initiative to raise his fist and attack Dugu Xiaoxian behind him. Dugu Xiaoxian frowned and clenched her fist without hesitation to meet the attack. Boom! The collision between heaven and earth caused the world to be in turmoil. All the mountains were collapsing and the ground below was cracking continuously. Fortunately, you're smart and ran fast. Chu Bei, who was watching the battle, glanced at Qian Nan and smiled. My sixth sense is accurate. Qian Nan shrugged his shoulders in relief. If he had hesitated for a moment, even if he did not die, he would have been seriously injured. Just as the skinny old man's blood sacrifice general worship platform exploded with terrifying energy, the major forces outside the eternal forest also underwent a shocking change in the heaven realm and the human realm. Profound Sky Continent, Godwind Academy. A demonic claw that was hundreds of feet tall hung upside down in the sky. The bloody demonic claw seemed to have been cut off by some kind of sharp weapon, releasing a monstrous demonic aura. Old Manny, where did this demonic claw come from? Could it be the treasure of your academy? You've hidden too much from me. Chu Ao glanced at Yifeng with resentment. When he looked at the demonic claw in the sky again, the shock in his eyes was even more intense. Just a moment ago, the skinny old man in the image had exploded with unparalleled terrifying energy. This energy had directly seeped out from the image in the void. Just a trace of energy had destroyed a large area of the mountain forest below. Fortunately, just as Chu Ao, Yifeng, and the others' faces changed and they were worried that the academy would be destroyed, the huge demonic claw that emerged from the ground of the academy had covered the terrifying energy of the skinny old man in the image in time. Old man Chu, we've known each other for 100 years. When have I ever hidden anything from you? As for this demonic claw, I really don't know anything about it. What's more, this demonic claw is above. Just a trace of its aura made me have the urge to worship it. If this demonic claw was controlled by us, how could our academy be ranked at the bottom of the 4 great academies? Yifeng spread his hands helplessly. Then what is the origin of this demonic claw? Chu Ao frowned. Tantai Sacred Land. A group of disciples and elders looked at the distant sky in astonishment. Suddenly, a bloody head appeared in the sky above the projection. It was impossible to distinguish the gender of the head. Only the red light from the 2 eyes shone into the image, suppressing the majestic energy in the image. Master, what is this? Meng Ku-er swallowed her saliva and stared at the bloody head above. The old man beside Meng Ku-er shook his head. His eyes were also full of confusion. Church of Light. The Pope and a group of clergy looked at the sky above the forbidden area in a daze. Half of the body of a 12-winged angel was floating above the image. With itself as the center, it released a strange energy to protect the entire church. At this moment, as long as the forces in the Tianxian continent had a strange treasure that projected the image of the eternal forest, when the skinny old man's energy was rioting, strange things appeared to resist the leakage of this energy. It was either immortal treasures or the remains of ancient gods and demons. Heaven Realm, West. In the Goddess of Wisdom's temple, the 6 main gods sat opposite each other, urging the divine power in their body at the same time to resist the power of the skinny old man in the eternal forest. I dare say that this person is definitely not in the Divine Emperor realm. There must be a higher realm above the Divine Emperor realm, and he is in that realm. I have the same idea as you. Otherwise, with just the power released by himself, and from thousands of miles away, it is impossible to hurt us. How many existences above the Divine Emperor realm are there? Where are they? The 6 main gods had blood on the corners of their mouths, and their faces were pale. Go to hell, stinky bug. In the eternal forest, the skinny old man punched Dugu Xiaoxian back. Then he shouted and waved his right hand. 2 tall mountains in the distance rose into the sky. Wrapped in divine power, they instantly appeared in front of Chu Bei and the others and attacked from the front and back. Chu Bei furrowed his brows as he sensed the power of Heaven's state being exerted on the 2 mountains. Just as he was about to pawn off the level 16 items, Dugu Xiaoxian waved her left hand, and 2 rainbow-like purple ribbons shot out and bombarded the 2 mountains. Your opponent is me. The 2 mountains were shattered. Dugu Xiaoxian shouted and waved her slender hand. The demon-suppressing stone fell beside her. Since you are in such a hurry to die, I will satisfy you. The skinny old man's blood-red hair stood on end as he roared into the sky. If you did not sneak attack me first, I would not have been humiliated by him, and I would not have been injured by the blood-sacrifice general worship platform. The skinny old man clenched his fists and raised his hand to form a sandstorm that swept toward Dugu Xiaoxian. This was an energy tornado that made the world lose its color. A giant energy vortex formed in the center and surrounded Dugu Xiaoxian in the blink of an eye. Facing such a terrifying celestial storm, Dugu Xiaoxian's expression did not change much. Her graceful body trembled slightly, and several purple clouds spread out with her as the center. Rumble. The purple clouds surged into the celestial storm. The 2 intertwined, and the rumbling sound was endless. In the collision, the thousands of purple clouds did not destroy the storm, but the storm could not advance any further. You. Which ancient powerhouse are you? Seeing Dugu Xiaoxian block his attack again, the skinny old man frowned. In terms of cultivation level, he was 1 level higher than the other party, but after 2 exchanges, he did not have an obvious advantage. A little chess piece like you has no right to know who I am. If my cultivation level was still at its peak, the battle would have ended long ago. Dugu Xiaoxian's bell-like laughter resounded throughout this world. Her crisp and pleasant voice was like the sound of nature. How arrogant! I am the ruler of this world. If I am a chess piece, who would dare to be the chess player? The skinny old man sneered. The general worship platform flew to his side. When he placed his bloody palm on the general worship platform, the majestic aura in his body instantly increased by several notches. Chapter 381. How laughable! If you're a supreme being, then why did you have to sacrifice your blood to the general appointing platform when you fought me? Dugu Xiaoxian glanced at the skinny old man with disdain. Then, she pointed at Chu Bei. Not to mention you. Even he wouldn't dare to call himself the supreme being of this world. Chu Bei couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth when he saw Dugu Xiaoxian pointing the spear at him again. Finally, Chu Bei couldn't help but say, if you want to fight, then hurry up and fight. Why are you still talking when you're fighting? Are you done yet? Dugu Xiaoxian and the skinny old man's expressions changed at the same time when they heard Chu Bei's words. The general appointing platform is just a dead object. No matter how powerful it is, it's still mine. The skinny old man looked at Dugu Xiaoxian and let out a cold snort. As his palms stopped on the general appointing platform, the latter's color became increasingly blood-red, while the skinny old man's face began to turn pale. However, his aura became increasingly terrifying. Sensing the skinny old man's soaring aura, Dugu Xiaoxian's expression became incomparably serious. She held the dark demon-suppressing stone with both hands. Under her touch, the bright red blood stains seemed to have just been sprinkled from a fresh corpse. They gurgled and emitted a steaming blood energy. Kill! In the next moment, the skinny old man and Dugu Xiaoxian seemed to have reached a consensus. One of them held the general appointing platform, while the other held the demon-suppressing stone. They smashed towards each other at the same time. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, the general appointing platform, which emitted a majestic aura, collided with the evil demon-suppressing stone. The sound shook the heavens. At this moment, the void completely collapsed. The graveyard of gods and devils below caved into the distorted dark space. The mountain peaks turned into nothingness, and the endless forest shattered into a rain of light. Under the terrifying collision of the general appointing platform and the demon-suppressing stone, the newly established small world completely collapsed. Only intertwining purple light and blood-red light remained. If Chen Nan, Catherine, and the others weren't within Chu Bei's protection, they would have probably been reduced to ashes. Boom. After the collision, the general appointing platform and the demon-suppressing stone immediately separated. They each flew in a circle before they collided again under the hands of the skinny old man and Dugu Xiaoxian. The cycle repeated itself. The void was crumbling even more. After every collision, a large amount of pitch-black lightning would surge out from the void. The dense black lightning interweaved and rumbled non-stop. This scene was like hell. Finally, after a collision, the Devil Suppression Stone and the general appointing platform didn't continue to collide. Instead, they each stopped at one side. At this moment, the skinny old man was surrounded by a monstrous demonic aura. His clothes were ragged, and his entire body was in tatters. His skinny body was deformed from the impact. Looking back at Dugu Xiaoxian, although she still maintained her previous appearance, her aura had clearly become weaker, and the energy fluctuations around her had also become chaotic. Her pair of beautiful eyes were permeated with a purplish-red light. No matter who you are, you will be buried here today. The skinny old man stared coldly at Dugu Xiaoxian. With a loud laugh, his body shook, and his tattered clothes and deformed body returned to its original state. Let's see how much longer you can last. If it weren't for the fact that my old illness hasn't healed, killing you would only take a single thought. Dugu Xiaoxian glared at the skinny old man unwillingly. Using the Devil Suppression Stone required a large amount of source energy. In the previous collisions, she had almost exhausted all the energy in her body. What made her even more unwilling was that when she continued to mobilize her energy, an inexplicable power hidden in her body suddenly erupted, causing her to be unable to continue using the Devil Suppression Stone. She knew that if this continued, the outcome wouldn't be good. After hesitating for a moment, Dugu Xiaoxian flew directly in Chu Bei's direction. Do you understand the situation now? From the moment the blood sacrifice begins, all of you will only have one outcome: to be tortured to death. The skinny old man seemed to have seen through Dugu Xiaoxian's thoughts and placed his other hand on the general appointing platform. In an instant, the general appointing platform released a monstrous blood-red light. It was also at this moment that the skinny old man completely turned into a skeleton. The blood in his body was completely sucked out. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The blood-red general appointing platform suddenly trembled. Then, layers of red light spread out in all directions like overlapping waves. Everywhere it passed, everything was imprisoned. Don't worry, I won't let you die a quick death. The skinny old man slowly flew to Dugu Xiaoxian's side with a vicious look in his eyes. At this moment, the Devil Suppression Stone was hovering around Dugu Xiaoxian. From time to time, it would roar like an ancient ferocious beast at the skinny old man. Your opponent is this, not me. The skinny old man glanced at the Devil Suppression Stone and threw the general appointing platform in his hand over. In an instant, the two treasures of heaven and earth collided again. As for the skinny old man, he sneered as he looked at the immobilized Dugu Xiaoxian. Master, she doesn't seem to be in a good situation. Qian Nan pointed at the imprisoned Dugu Xiaoxian and turned to look at Chu Bei. Master, please help sister. She doesn't seem to be able to defeat that skeleton bad guy. Little Dawn tugged at Chu Bei's arm with her eyes wide open. Master, although this demoness is hateful, she is still on our side. Why don't you make a move and let me admire your monstrous methods again? The purple gold divine dragon looked at Chu Bei with a fawning expression. Chu Bei glanced at Chen Nan, Catherine, and the others. After sighing, he used his divine sense and used the right to use a level 16 commodity. This time, he exchanged for the power of light, which was a level 16 commodity. Of course, unlike Qian Nan's development of the Pill of Light, when Chu Badian finished exchanging for the level 16 power of light, he had a feeling that he had become the master of light elemental power in the world. At the same time, the shriveled old man on the battlefield circled Duga Xiaoxian twice, his dark eyes filled with cruelty and bloodthirstiness. Tell me, should I destroy your soul and turn you into a mindless puppet, or should I destroy your physical body and plant a blood imprint on you to make you my slave? Up to you. There was no fear on Dugu Xiaoshuan's face, but there was a hint of unwillingness in her eyes. In the center of the Tianyuan continent, in the cemetery of the gods and devils, the old man guarding the tomb looked to the west, his eyes reflecting Dugu Xiaoshuan's appearance on the battlefield. He muttered to himself, Tianshang is still here, or else he wouldn't have fallen to such a state. Will you make a move or not? The old man sighed again. The person reflected in his eyes was now Chu Bei. If you don't make a move, then this old man can only exercise his muscles. The old man shook the walking stick in his hand. As soon as he finished speaking, his eyes suddenly became sharp. The souls of the dead in the cemetery of the gods and devils once again emerged from the ground and floated above the snow maple tree, wailing mournfully as illusions wreaked havoc. In the west of the Tianyuan continent, in the Church of Light, Pope, the woman related to the demon suppression stone, has lost. Looking at the situation of Duga Xiaoxian and the skinny old man on the screen, the faces of the clergymen changed. I'm not blind. The Pope snorted coldly and glared at the clergyman. When he looked again at Dugu Xiaoxian in the screen, his brows were full of solemnity. Pope, that woman knows the origin of the demon suppression stone. Do you have a way to save her? A clergyman stepped forward. Nonsense. Is that a battle between them something I can participate in? The Pope directly cursed and pointed at the skinny old man on the screen. Even if we are so far away, that skeleton powerhouse can kill me with just a finger. How do you want me to save her from his hands? The clergyman who spoke was covered in spit by the Pope. After scratching his head awkwardly, he could only continue to pay attention to the situation in the small world. In the screen, the skinny old man raised his right hand and slashed horizontally at Duga Xiaoxian. The void trembled and rumbled as a pitch-black gap appeared in front of his palm. From the gap, a black blade of light that was hundreds of feet long swept out, shattering the space in its path. It was such a terrifying blade of light that seemed slow, but fixed the void as it slashed toward Dugu Xiaoxian. The terrifying power of the pitch-black blade of light seemed to be transmitted through the screen. Roar! In the sky above the Church of Light's temple, half of the 12-winged angel's body screamed miserably. Its roar shook the heavens as it tried its best to suppress the power of the pitch-black blade of light. Perhaps it was because its limbs were incomplete and it was no longer at its peak. Or perhaps it was because it had exhausted too much of its power to suppress the collision between the demon suppression stone and the general appointing platform. Although it had blocked most of the power of the pitch-black blade of light, a little of its power still seeped out. Rumble. The power of the blade of light that seeped out directly landed on one of the main peaks of the church. Instantly, the main peak was forcefully cut in half, leaving behind a deep ravine that was shocking to the eye. This power is truly terrifying. The Pope and the clergyman looked at each other, their faces filled with horror. Even a tiny bit of power that seeped out from the void could cut a mountain peak in half. Then, wouldn't the only fate for the woman who was facing this attack be death? Everyone from the Church of Light gulped and continued to look at the scene in the distant sky. However, just as the monstrous black blade of light was about to strike Dugu Xiaoshuan's body, golden light spread out behind Dugu Xiaoxian, and a huge palm formed from golden runes suddenly appeared out of thin air. Then, the golden rune palm slapped out. With a rumble, it forcefully blocked the black blade of light. Following that, the golden rune palm flicked its fingertip. With a crisp crack, the monstrous black blade of light shattered, turning into a rain of black light that dissipated in the air. Your Holiness, did you see that? That blade of light was blocked. The clergyman's eyes were filled with astonishment. Your Holiness, what's with that golden palm? Is it that woman's backup plan? Another clergyman asked. No, the aura is different. The Pope's gaze was fixed on the golden rune palm behind Dugu Shaoxian as he stammered. There's a third person. Other than the two of them, there's a third supreme powerhouse. It's him. It must be him. The Pope's pupils suddenly constricted. His gaze shifted away from the golden rune palm and landed on a man. Although the man was wearing an ordinary long robe, he was emitting an incomparably sacred radiance as he stood in the air. This sacred aura seemed to have transcended the barrier of the void. Just looking at it through the screen would inexplicably fill one's heart with a warm current that made one feel refreshed and comfortable. On the battlefield, Chu Bei stood quietly in the air with his hands behind his back. His entire body was wrapped in golden light, imperceptibly exuding a majestic aura. He was like a high and mighty emperor, naturally exuding the aura of a powerhouse that looked down on the world, making people have the urge to worship him. Around him, the purple and black light that was originally intertwined with each other retreated, replaced by the golden light with runes. Chapter 382. Since you've made a move, there's nothing for me to do. In the cemetery of gods and devils in the center of the continent, the gravekeeper's aura dropped sharply, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. I've had it easy for too many years. I really don't want to get involved anymore. As he muttered, the gravekeeper leaned on his walking stick and sat on the shabby chair again, his eyes looking to the west. Thank you. On the battlefield, Dugu Shaoxian looked a little absent-minded as she looked at Chu Bei in disbelief, as if she wanted to say something but didn't know what to say. She wasn't surprised that the other party would make a move, nor was she intimidated by the other party's powerful aura. It was because the other party's aura was very unfamiliar to her. Ever since she was born, she had never come into contact with an unfamiliar power. The aura released by the other party clearly didn't have any elemental energy fluctuations, but it made her feel an inexplicable sense of vigilance. For thousands of years, she had only felt this way from a few people, and these few people were all the strongest in the world. They were the real masterminds behind the plot. I didn't want to participate in the battle between the two of you, but since these little guys are begging me, I can only save you. Chu Bei was speaking from the bottom of his heart. He really didn't want to make a move. After all, saving Dugu Shaoxian didn't give him any benefits, and he would also waste the right to use a level 16 commodity. Ever since Dian exchanged for the level 16 power of light, he had control over the light energy between heaven and earth. In this cemetery of God's plane, all the light elements between heaven and earth were used and controlled by him. In his body, there was an additional seed of light, which carried the bridge for him to communicate with the light elements between heaven and earth. With this power, he was confident that he could fight against Dugu Baitian, the Demon Lord, and the Ghost Lord at their peak. In fact, according to the system's evaluation, level 16 was already equivalent to the heaven-defying stage of this plane. On the battlefield, Chu Bei's calm voice fell, and with a wave of his sleeve, a golden rainbow bloomed beside Dugu Shaoxian. The next moment, the shackles on Dugu Shaoxian disappeared, and she regained her freedom. Oh my God! A genuine supreme expert. Seeing how easily Chu Bei removed the bindings on Dugu Shaoxuan's body, the purple gold divine dragon was lying on the baby dragon's back in the box. Its dragon eyes were wide open as it fixed its gaze on Chu Bei. Its jaw almost dropped to the ground. Previously, it had always been suspicious of Chu Bei's cultivation. After all, before Dugu Shaoxian had taken away its dragon essence, it could be considered a powerhouse. Judging from Chu Bei's previous attacks, even though he wasn't weak, he shouldn't be a match for Dugu Shaoxian. However, the scene before its eyes completely shattered its previous opinion. Not only was this expert strong, he was even stronger than the demoness Dugu Shaoxian, who had devoured his dragon essence. The purple gold divine dragon felt a sense of loss, but he quickly regained his senses. When it looked at the man covered in golden light again, it was shocked to find that the man's invisible aura could affect its mind. An expert is indeed an expert. No wonder you're a supreme expert who looks down on the world. Long Bao Bao howled. It wasn't hard to hear the flattery in its howl. The feeling master gives me has changed. Little Chen, she blinked her big watery eyes and looked at Chan Nan with sparkling eyes. Chun Nan pinched little Chen Shi's rosy cheeks. His gaze never left Chu Bei. Just now, the pill of light in his body seemed to have been guided by something, or as if it had met its king. It actually released its light energy on its own. I've always heard him mention you. Who exactly are you? The skinny old man looked at Chu Bei cautiously. Even though he couldn't sense Chu Bei's origin energy fluctuation, his intuition told him that this person wasn't simple. On the Aeon chessboard, all living beings are chess pieces. You're just a chess piece in the hands of one of the chess players. What right do you have to know my name? Chu Bei put his hands behind his back and looked calmly at the skinny old man. I'm the supreme expert of heaven and earth, the ruler of heaven and earth. I'm not some so-called chess piece. The skinny old man's eyes were filled with red light. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved both his arms. The void rumbled and vibrated. Endless spatial cracks surged out with pitch-black light. The pitch-black light had a myriad of changes. Some were in the shape of a broad saber, some were in the shape of a short sword, some were in the shape of a long spear, and some were in the shape of a heavy hammer. Die! A cold voice echoed from the void. The skinny old man executed 100 black lights and attacked Chu Bei at the same time. Chu Bei smiled knowingly. His expression didn't change at all. As for his body, he didn't even move half a step. Chu Bei's divine perception moved. The golden rune giant palm behind Dugu Shaoxian welcomed the 100 black lights. Everywhere it passed, the blazing golden light left behind waves of auspicious aura. At the moment of collision, the golden rune giant palm directly annihilated the 100 terrifying black lights. Looking at the golden rune giant palm that continued to attack, the skinny old man's expression suddenly changed, and his pupils constricted. Without any hesitation, the skinny old man waved his hand and summoned the general appointing platform that was colliding with the demon-suppressing stone in front of him. He used it to block the giant rune palm that carried a vast and holy aura. Boom! Golden light filled the air as runes wreaked havoc. The general appointing platform shook violently, faintly emitting a strange sound that sounded like the wails of ghosts and gods. Accompanied by a shocking explosion, although the general appointing platform successfully blocked the golden rune palm for the skinny old man, it was also sent flying by the golden palm. Upon closer inspection, one could even see that there were some cracks on the smooth surface of the general appointing platform that was refined from an unknown material. Fortunately, the cracks were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The skinny old man looked at the gradually dissipating golden rune palm, then looked at the general appointing platform that had been sent flying and even cracked. In the end, his gaze landed on Chu Bei again. The vigilance on his face became even more intense, and there was a heavy expression between his brows. Obviously, he had recognized Chu Bei's strength in this exchange. The other party's strength was above Dugu Xiaoshuan's. After hesitating for a moment, the skinny old man let out a long breath. His vicious gaze swept across Chu Bei, Dugu Xiaoxian, Chen Nan, and the others, as if he had made a difficult decision. Fight! As soon as the cold syllable fell, the skinny old man intertwined his hands and quickly formed a seal. In the next moment, the skinny old man's entire body released a dark light. Circles of demonic chi spread out in all directions with him as the center. Not far away, the general appointing platform that had been sent flying returned to the skinny old man's side. Following that, the skinny old man cried out in pain. His entire body was pressed against the general appointing platform. First, the black aura around his body entered the general appointing platform. Then, his body, which had already turned into a skeleton, slowly merged into the general appointing platform. Boom! When the skinny old man completely merged with the general appointing platform, an even more terrifying blood-red light suddenly erupted from the general appointing platform. One could vaguely see terrifying demonic chi surging within the light. A terrifying energy that could destroy the world erupted. Dugu Xiaoxian stared at the demonized general appointing platform. She shook her head and sighed, her expression mixed with regret. A Heaven Realm powerhouse had actually completely sacrificed himself to the general appointing platform. Die. All of you must die. A hoarse voice that seemed to come from hell came from the general appointing platform. The voice was filled with monstrous killing intent. Looking over, a white skeleton appeared on the surface of the general appointing platform. Two rays of blood shot out from the eyes of the skeleton as it stared straight at Chu Bei. Swoosh! The sound of something tearing through the air rang out as a long rainbow streaked across the sky. The demon-suppressing stone appeared in front of Chu Bei, releasing a faint red light. As it swayed slightly, it emitted a low hum. I don't need your help yet. Chu Bei calmly pushed away the demon-suppressing stone in front of him. Then, he looked at the general appointing platform in the distance that was growing in size and aura. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. Western Heaven Staircase, Goddess of Wisdom Temple. Rumble. With a loud bang, the Goddess of Wisdom Temple collapsed with a loud bang. Rubble and debris flew everywhere, instantly turning into a pile of ruins. In the gray smoke, 6 figures shot out like cannonballs. When they stabilized their bodies, they were the 6 chief gods who were originally in the temple. He's actually this powerful. The 6 chief gods' faces were filled with disbelief as they stared at the general appointing platform in shock. Just now, the terrifying energy that erupted from the general appointing platform had directly pushed them back and destroyed the entire Goddess of Wisdom Temple in an instant. What level of battle is this? How many more such ancient powerhouses are there? The 6 master gods looked at each other before their gazes finally settled on Chu Bei. The attack that Chu Bei had unleashed clearly did not have the slightest fluctuation of yuan power, yet it had forcefully forced the skinny old man into a dead end. On the battlefield of the Eternal Forest, the general appointing platform was already 10,000 feet long. Chu Bei, Dugu Shaoxian, and the others in front of the general appointing platform were as tiny as ants. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As the general appointing platform let out a strange sound, dense black and purple electric currents appeared around it, and monstrous demonic energy filled the air. In almost an instant, Chan Nan, Catherine, and the others discovered that they had lost control of their bodies. It was as if they were imprisoned and could not move. They could only watch as the huge object smashed down. All of you, die. The skeletons in the general appointing platform waved their arms crazily. Let me give you a hand. Dugu Shaoxian glanced at the general appointing platform and looked at Chu Bei with an incomparably serious expression. Just stay at the side. Chu Bei's left palm spewed out a dazzling golden light to stop Dugu Shaoxian. Then, he raised his right hand and clenched his fist slightly at the general appointing platform. Crack. In an instant, a crisp sound came from this world as if it had frozen at this moment. When Chu Bei made his move, the various colored lights in this small world began to turn into a rain of light that surged toward the 10,000 feet long general appointing platform. In an instant, the space where Chan Nan and the others were completely plunged into darkness. At this moment, this small world lost its light and turned into a pitch-black world. All the light elements surged toward the general appointing platform. As for the golden light outside the general appointing platform, it became more and more solid. This golden divine light wrapped around the general appointing platform. At first glance, it looked like an incomparably large golden ball of light wrapped around a blood-red stone platform. As more and more golden light gathered, when all the light elements in this world surged to the surroundings of the general appointing platform, Chu Bei's slightly bent palm suddenly clenched into a fist. Chapter 383. On the battlefield, the golden ball of light shrank rapidly, accompanied by the skinny old man's painful and shrill wail. It was also at this moment that Chen Nan and the others regained their freedom. All of them looked at the general appointing platform with different expressions. As the golden ball of light shrank, the 10,000 feet long general appointing platform had no choice but to shrink as well. 1,500 feet, 1,000 feet, 500 feet, 100 feet. In the end, it stopped at less than 3 meters long. Inside the general appointing platform, one could vaguely see the skinny old man struggling and twisting his body. His white bones began to shatter and dissipate under the pressure of the golden ball of light. Bang, bang. Two muffled sounds came from the general appointing platform, one after another. The shattered white bones completely fused with the platform. Master, is that guy dead? Chun Nan hurriedly asked. Chu Bei didn't respond. He only waved his right hand, and a golden disc appeared on the golden ball of light outside the general appointing platform. The center of the disc was like a chaotic black hole, and a terrifying suction force directly tore through the void and enveloped the general appointing platform. Under this terrifying suction force, a translucent soul flew out from the general appointing platform in pain. The soul's face was very old. Wrinkles could be vaguely seen on his cheeks, piling up like dried orange peel. In his deep eye sockets, a pair of green eyes were filled with pain, as if he was experiencing the 18 levels of hell. It was the skinny old man's appearance before the general appointing platform. Amidst the buzzing sound, the golden disc restrained the skinny old man's soul and arrived in front of Chu Bei. I'm clearly the supreme being of heaven and earth, the ruler of heaven and earth. How could I still be defeated? Why? I've clearly already reached the peak of cultivation. How could I still be defeated? The skinny old man seemed to have gone crazy. He stared fixedly at Chu Bei, his expression twisted. Even if I die, I won't become your servant. A voice filled with unwillingness drifted through this world. Immediately, the skinny old man's soul began to swell. However, just as the skinny old man chose to self-destruct his soul, a golden light surged out from the disc under Chu Bei's feet and forcefully suppressed the former self-destruction. I didn't ask you to die. You can't die. Chu Bei crossed his arms in front of his chest with a smile on his lips. He looked at the skinny old man mockingly. You claim to be the ruler of the world. So why did you need to sacrifice blood to the general appointing platform to deal with me? In your opinion, how does the cultivation base of the person who created the general appointing platform compare to yours? Since this small world was created by you, why was it still as solid as a rock when you were about to detonate your soul? No, don't say any more. The skinny old man waved his hand and interrupted Chu Bei's words. His expression was extremely ugly. He didn't want to listen anymore. When the other party easily suppressed him, he already knew the answer in his heart. He knew that he was wrong, and this mistake lasted for tens of millions of years. He was really just a chess piece that was kept in the dark, a self-righteous and pathetic chess piece that had no choice. He didn't even know who the chess player was. Who are you? Have you already left the heavenly realm? How many people are at the same level as you, and where are they? The skinny old man roared with all his strength, his face twisted to the extreme. Stop mumbling. Chu Bei picked his ear. I originally wanted to kill you, but considering your cultivation base, you can still be used as cannon fodder in the upcoming decisive battle. So, I changed my mind. Answer my previous question. The skinny old man was about to pounce on Chu Bei. Also, what is the upcoming decisive battle? Chu Bei ignored the skinny old man's roar. Instead, he turned to look at Duga Xiaoxian. He's just a wisp of soul now. You should be able to deal with him, right? Of course, Duga Xiaoxian immediately replied. Chu Bei nodded in response. Then, he turned his head and swept his gaze around. With a wave of his sleeve, the light elements around the general appointing platform quickly retreated. In the next moment, this small world regained its brightness. Perhaps sensing that the battle had subsided, the cemetery of gods and devils that had disappeared earlier emerged from the void below. Unfortunately, unlike the graveyard of gods and devils, the mountains and rivers from before had vanished without a trace, and only endless ruins remained. Dugu Xiaoxian began to form seals with her hands, and purple runes interweaved in her palms. Primordial Fiend Sealing Seal. After a long while, Dugu Xiaoxian formed a seal with her palms and sent it toward the skinny old man's soul on the golden disc. The incomparably resplendent seal completely enveloped the skinny old man's soul. Then, it wrapped around him and rushed toward the cemetery of gods and devils below. Boom! With a loud bang, the seal sealed the skinny old man's soul under an empty space in the cemetery of gods and devils, becoming one of the many graves. After dealing with the skinny old man, Dugu Xiaoxian summoned the demon suppression stone and stroked the blood on it. She muttered softly, "Since you found this place, then stay here permanently. Wait until the decisive battle arrives before you come out." The demon suppression stone seemed to understand Dugu Xiaoshuan's words. Blood slowly flowed on it. Then, with a bang, it was inserted into the grave of the skinny old man who had been sealed earlier. "I've completely sealed him. Moreover, with the demon suppression stone here, it's impossible for him to come out." Dugu Xiaoxian looked at Chu Bei. Then, she pointed at the general appointing platform not far away. "As for that, what are you going to do with it?" The general appointing platform shook continuously, emitting a strange sound as if it was afraid of Chu Bei. Chu Bei glanced indifferently at the general appointing platform and pointed out a golden light. The golden light pierced through the void and extended into the distance. "Return to your master's side. He's not completely dead. He's waiting for the day of his resurrection." Hearing Chu Bei's words, the general appointing platform actually jumped up and down in joy like a child. Then, with a whoosh, it streaked across the sky and followed the golden light that Chu Bei had pointed out. If someone with an extremely high cultivation base was here, they would definitely be able to see the end of the golden light, the land of death. After everything was over, Dugu Xiaoxian faced Chu Bei and was silent for a moment. Then, she asked seriously, "Who exactly are you? What's with your power and aura? Also, what's your cultivation base? Do you know my father?" Meeting Dugu Xiaoshuan's questioning gaze, Chu Bei smiled. "Do you know that there's a heaven beyond the heavens? And I'm from the heavens beyond the heavens." "The heavens beyond the heavens?" Dugu Xiaoshuan's pupils suddenly constricted, and her eyes were filled with astonishment. If this was before, she would only scoff at this person saying such words to her. But now, she had seen his methods with her own eyes. She had no choice but to believe it. The other party's strength and methods didn't have the slightest fluctuation of origin energy. She couldn't even determine the other party's cultivation base. All of this was a complete mystery. If there was really a heaven beyond the heavens, and the other party came from the heavens beyond the heavens, perhaps it was really possible. "How can I go to the heavens beyond the heavens?" Dugu Xiaoxian asked again. At the same time, Chunnan, Catherine, the purple gold divine dragon, and the others also pricked up their ears. "It's very simple. Slaughter the heavens." Chu Bei's words carried a smile. "Hee." The corners of Dugu Xiaoshuan's mouth twitched. "That's not simple at all. That day won't be far away." Chu Bei pretended to be profound and did not overdo it. After saying that, Chu Bei's gaze landed on Chunnan. "Let's continue on our journey. Master will bring you to the heavenly realm." "Heavenly realm?" Chunnan was stunned at first. When he reacted, his body trembled slightly. Chapter 384. Due to the appearance of the demon-suppressing stone, my memories have been restored. Thank you for bringing me here. I still have some matters to settle 10,000 years ago, so I'll be leaving first. Dugu Xiaoxian looked at Chu Bei with gratitude in her eyes. After saying goodbye, she glanced at Chunnan. "Grow up quickly, you don't have much time left." Hearing Dugu Xiaoxian's words, Chunnan was stunned. When he came back to his senses and was about to say something, Dugu Xiaoxian's figure had already disappeared into the void. "Master, what's her relationship with me?" Chunnan couldn't help but look at Chu Bei. Chu Bei looked at Chunnan calmly. "Do you believe in reincarnation?" Chunnan was a little hesitant. "Master, does reincarnation really exist in this world?" Chu Bei smiled. "You have no relationship with her, but in your previous life, you had an inseparable blood relationship with her. As for more information, I'll leave it to you to find out." Hearing this, Chunnan didn't pursue this topic and asked another question in his heart. "Master, the power you used earlier seemed to have resonated with the light energy in my body. I can sense that you're using pure light energy." Chu Bei nodded slightly. "When you develop your light talent to the large success stage, you'll also have the strength that I showed earlier." "Yes, that day won't be far." Chunnan was excited as if he had been injected with chicken blood. "It's time to leave." Chu Bei looked at the cemetery below and waved his right hand. Majestic golden light filled the air, and the group disappeared into the void. He wanted to take advantage of the time limit of this level 16 light energy to successfully reach the heaven realm. On the other side, central Tianyuan continent, cemetery of gods and devils. The gravekeeper stood up from his chair and leaned on his walking stick. His body trembled and his eyes were blank for the first time. Is there really a heaven beyond the heavens? Heaven beyond the heavens? Does it really exist? I'm already so old, but I still want to see it. As the battle in the eternal forest subsided, the souls of the gods and devils floating above the snow maple tree returned to their coffins one after another. Eastern Tianyuan continent, ancient Tantai sacred ground. Master, the image has disappeared. That fiend god's severed limb is also gone. Meng Ku muttered softly as she pointed at the void where the image was originally projected. Her astonished expression showed that she had yet to recover from her absent-mindedness. Who the hell is he? Shouldn't such a terrifying existence have been brought to the upper realm a long time ago? Why are they still on our continent? Did you guys hear what he said earlier? He said he came from the realm beyond heaven. What kind of place was the realm beyond heaven? If we go there, we have to slaughter the heavens first. What does this mean? The old man beside Meng Ku looked confused as he muttered to himself, Master, do you want me to report what happened just now to the founder of the heaven realm? Meng Ku pursed her lips and said, You don't have to go. I'll go myself. As soon as he finished speaking, the old man turned around and walked towards the main hall with hurried steps. Western Heaven Realm. It's over. Not only was that terrifying existence defeated, he was also sealed. The Aeon chessboard uses all living beings as chess pieces. What does that mean? Even such a terrifying existence can only be a pawn? Where on earth did the experts of this world go? Where did the stone platform go? Mystery. Everything is a mystery. What exactly happened in the ancient past? Who can unravel this mystery? The 6 great gods stared blankly at the image that was beginning to disappear. They looked at each other, their eyes filled with confusion. Before witnessing this battle, they thought that they were only one hurdle away from the peak of cultivation. They were already the masters of the heaven realm, the supreme beings of the region. However, after witnessing this battle, they had a new understanding of the path of cultivation. The divine emperor realm was not the end. There was still a long way to go above it. Moreover, from the conversation of the people in the image, there were many existences above the divine emperor realm in the ancient past. But there was a gap in history, and these terrifying existences were nowhere to be found. Tianyuan continent, Church of Light. The Pope and a group of clergy stared blankly at the disappearing image and the half of the 12-winged angel's body. Pope, the battle is over. The Lord of the Eternal Forest has been sealed. A clergyman pointed at the tombstone in the disappearing image, then pointed at the stone of demon suppression. The stone of demon suppression was left there by that woman. What about the ferocious demons in the 18 levels of hell? This matter is beyond my authority. I must report this to the people of the heaven realm and let them decide. The Pope's face was solemn, but before he could turn around and leave, the void in front of him rippled. The next moment, a dazzling golden light appeared in his sight. A group of people slowly walked out of the golden light. Seeing the appearance of the group, especially the leader, the Pope's face turned gray. He felt as if he had been struck by a bolt from the blue, or as if a basin of cold water had been poured over him from head to toe. His entire body was numb. The arrival of these people was too sudden, catching him off guard. The clergymen around him all gasped. They were at a loss, as if they had been struck by lightning. They were like clay statues. It's you. The Pope was flabbergasted. His brain had already lost the ability to command his own actions. He stood there motionless like a piece of wood, staring blankly at Chu Bei, who was in the lead. Have we met before? Chu Bei looked at the old man with the scepter in front of him in surprise. This was his first time in the Church of Light. We watched the entire battle between you and that person in the Eternal Forest. The Pope stared at Chu Bei warily. His entire body was as tense as a rock. His heart was as heavy as cold lead. I am the Pope of the Church of Light. May I know why you are here? Watched the entire battle? Chu Bei frowned. After the Pope explained a few more words, he reacted. It turned out that when the general appointing platform woke up and the abnormality in the graveyard of gods and devils, they were broadcasted live. That's interesting. After knowing what was going on, Chu Bei's lips curled into a smile. These people had also seen the scene of him using the level 16 power of light to suppress the skinny old man. Chu Bei patted the Pope's shoulder. Don't be nervous. I don't have any special purpose here. I just want to go to the 12th level of hell. The 12th level of hell? That's a place of great danger. May I know your purpose? Knowing that Chu Bei had no ill intentions, the Pope's tightly furrowed brows relaxed. You don't need to know that. Chu Bei waved his hand. Sir, according to the records of our church, every level of hell below imprisons countless gods and devils, and among them are several incomparably powerful existences. Even people from the heaven realm have to be careful when they enter. At this point, the Pope seemed to recall the method Chu Bei had used previously, and his tone suddenly changed. But with your strength, you should be fine. I wonder if you need me to open it for you. No need. I just happened to land here, so I'm just informing you. As for the 12th level of hell, we'll go there ourselves. Chu Bei waved his hand to reject the Pope's good intentions, and with that, a golden circle of light emerged from the ground. Chen Nan, Catherine, and the rest followed closely behind Chu Bei and stepped into the golden circle of light one after another, disappearing. Master, is this hell? After a while, Chen Nan tilted his head to look at Chu Bei beside him and gulped. Now, he had fallen from the bright world outside into the pitch-black world of darkness. Even though his cultivation had reached the 6th level, he still couldn't see anything clearly, especially the dense killing intent in the air, which gave people a gloomy and terrifying feeling. The so-called 18 levels of hell are actually just 18 small worlds. However, these 18 small worlds were overlapped by someone using a supreme method. Later on, it was discovered by the Church of Light and became the 18 levels of hell that they speak of, specially used to seal evil people. As his calm voice fell, Chu Bei pointed out a finger, and holy light elements gushed out, instantly illuminating this dark world. As far as the eye could see, this place was vast and boundless, like a vast grassland, except that the grass was black. Master, aren't we going to the heaven realm? Why are we here? Little Dawn blinked her big, watery eyes. Crunch, crunch. Without waiting for Chu Bei to answer Little Dawn's question, a bone-cracking and chewing sound came from the east. The sound was hair-raising. Were they sealed here by the Church of Light? Hearing the sound, Chen Nan turned into a golden light and appeared above the source of the sound. Below them, 2 four-winged fallen angels were fighting with a group of white-haired zombies and red-haired corpse fiends. Almost at the same time, Chu Bei brought Catherine and the rest to Chen Nan's side. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Suddenly, the ground trembled slightly, followed by a violent tremor, as if thousands of soldiers and horses were galloping. All kinds of roars came from afar. The 2 fallen angels fighting below seemed to have sensed the abnormality of the situation and glanced at the white-haired zombies and red-haired corpse fiends around them. Just as they were about to leave the battle, the ground cracked. A simple and ancient-looking stone coffin slowly floated out of the ravine. The stone coffin was covered in blood, and it was constantly seeping into the ground. The moment the stone coffin appeared, the white-haired zombies and red-haired corpse fiends stopped fighting and knelt around the stone coffin like servants. Seeing the stone coffin, Chen Nan could not help but twitch the corner of his mouth. Master, could it be another Yusin's clone in this coffin? Hearing Chen Nan's words, Chu Bei shook his head and gave him a look that said, "Don't be nervous and relax." Buzz, buzz, buzz. The stone coffin trembled and actually stood upright. The 2 fallen angels seemed to have sensed the waves of evil coming from the stone coffin, and after looking at each other, they flew in different directions. However, it was all too late. Before they could fly more than 100 feet away, 2 blood-red rays of light shot out from the evil, blood-stained stone coffin and grabbed the 2 fallen angels. In the next moment, the bodies of the 2 fallen angels exploded, and all the blood in their bodies flowed into the stone coffin. Immediately after, a shrill howl came from the coffin, and it resounded throughout the 12 levels of hell. After a while, the stone coffin exploded. A man covered in blood-red light stood in the air, looking disdainfully in all directions and howling continuously. The man's hair was disheveled, and his blood-red hair was extremely demonic. His half-exposed upper body was covered in demonic patterns, and his lower body was not made of legs, but a giant snake's tail that was 20 to 30 feet long. The most peculiar thing was that in the middle of his forehead, which was covered in demonic patterns, there was an additional vertical eye. It was extremely strange. This is a Western totem. Catherine's pupils shrank when she saw the appearance of the man in the stone coffin, and she could not help but exclaim, "A Western totem?" Chunnan's gaze landed on Catherine. Totems are different from the other demons and demonic beasts in the Western continent. There is only one of them. Although I have never seen him with my own eyes, from the ancient books that have been passed down, he has a human head, a snake body, 3 eyes, and demonic patterns all over his body. His characteristics are exactly the same as a Western totem. Catherine continued, "Legend has it that the Western totem's cultivation is exceedingly high, and he is one of the most powerful gods in the world. Oh, my mother dragon! He really blinded my dragon eyes. The Western totem is truly a super big shot." Hearing Catherine's words, the purple gold divine dragon gulped and could not help but howl at the sky. "Master, who sealed such a super ancient god in the 12th layer of hell? He is the West Continent's totem. Who has such great capabilities?" Chunnan could not help but look at Chu Bei and ask the question in his heart. It wasn't sealed here. The 12th level of hell is his inner world. Chu Bei said calmly as he glanced at Chunnan, "Master, you didn't come here to find him, right?" Chunnan asked. Chu Bei nodded. "I used him to enter the heavenly realm. There are so many offerings the moment I woke up, and there is no lack of delicious food. It's enough for me to enjoy myself." Just as Chu Bei finished speaking, an extremely powerful spiritual wave spread out from below. At the same time, a cold voice rang in Chen Nan and the rest's ears. Looking over, the Western totem on the shattered sarcophagus was staring at Chu Bei and the rest with a burning gaze. It was licking its lips greedily, as if it was looking at its prey. Swoosh! The Western totem whipped its tail at Chen Nan, and a pitch-black crack appeared in the space. Chen Nan was shocked. He hurriedly elementalized and dodged to the side. However, the West Continent's totem was a powerful existence in the legends. The moment Chen Nan turned into the light element, the long snake tail suddenly expanded, and at the same time, it released a faint yellow ripple. A strange energy forced Chen Nan, who had turned into light, back into his human form. The faint yellow ripple surrounded his body. Chen Nan felt as if his internal organs were boiling, and all the organs in his abdomen were about to shatter. At that moment, the Western totem's eyes shot out 2 beams of blood-red light. The demonic patterns all over his body also emitted a demonic glow. He looked extremely evil and did not look like a god at all. At that moment, he was more like a hungry wolf, and Chen Nan was a fat sheep. "Little guy, I didn't expect you to hide such a treasure in your body." The Western totem looked at Chen Nan in astonishment. On Chen Nan's chest, a Taiji diagram was spinning, releasing a strange power. Chapter 385. No matter who you were chosen by, since you came to me, you can only blame yourself for being unlucky. The Western totem looked at Chen Nan and said in a cold voice, "But you are very lucky. You will be the only person in thousands of years that I will remember." As the cold voice faded, the Western totem's tail shone with a bloody light as it tried to kill Chen Nan. However, just as the Western totem's tail was about to hit Chen Nan, countless finger-sized light balls appeared behind Chen Nan. These light balls were filled with a holy aura. If one were to carefully sense them, they would discover that there was a strange energy expanding and contracting in each of the tiny light balls. This feeling was as if each seemingly insignificant light ball was formed from an extremely large amount of energy compressed to the extreme. Rumble. The light balls burst forth and instantly destroyed the faint yellow ripples released by the Western totem's tail, forcing it back at the same time. Master, if you had taken any longer, my life would have been destroyed by this so-called Western totem. Nan fiercely glanced at the Western totem. He would no longer treat the Western totem as a legendary god. The respect he had for the Western totem had vanished the moment it tried to kill him. If not for the fact that he was not strong enough, he would have killed the Western totem instead. Oh, if you hadn't taken action, I really wouldn't have been able to tell. You have hidden it well. The Western totem shifted its gaze from Nan to Chu Bei. A bloody light flashed in its eyes as two blood-colored divine swords condensed and shot towards Chu Bei. Originally, I had a small matter to ask for your help on this trip. I was still thinking about how to repay this favor. Now that you have taken action against me, this matter will be much easier to handle. Chu Bei suddenly laughed heartily. He clenched his right hand into a fist that emitted a resplendent golden light. After shattering the two blood-colored divine swords, his figure vanished. Seeing Chu Bei disappear, the Western totem's expression changed drastically as a sense of danger surged in its heart. The last person who had made it feel this way was a supreme expert who could fight against the heavens 10,000 years ago. The Western totem seemed to have caught on to something. It suddenly looked up to the sky and let out a long howl. Its blood-red hair danced wildly, and the demonic patterns all over its body emitted an increasingly dazzling evil light. At the same time, the third vertical eye on its forehead shot out a pitch-black beam of light. The sacred totem eye has opened. Heavens, the legendary totem's sacred eye that can destroy everything in the world. Catherine thought of the legend recorded in the ancient books, and her mouth formed a circle. Not to mention the current you, even if you recover your peak cultivation, I still don't care about you. Chu Bei's calm voice resounded in this world. In the blink of an eye, Chu Bei appeared right above the Western totem. Then, he slapped down with his right palm. There was a circular light circle formed by photons in front of his palm. To be precise, it was a bottomless light hole. The pitch-black beam of light shot out from the sacred eye of the Western totem's glabella. After bombarding the light hole that looked like the mouth of a troll, it quickly melted and was swallowed by the latter. This is impossible. Who the hell are you? Looking at the dissipation of his attack, the Western totem's three pupils suddenly shrank. However, just as the Western totem was about to avoid the light hole that continued to hit him, his body was inexplicably bound by chains made of photons that appeared out of thin air. These chains contained terrifying energy. Even someone as strong as him could not break free for a while. Looking at the light hole falling from above, the Western totem's heart sank to the bottom at this moment. Boom! With a loud bang, the light hole in Chu Bei's right palm hit the Western totem's face solidly. Dazzling golden light scattered in all directions, and a deafening sound reverberated. The black grassland below instantly cracked and collapsed. The 12 layers of hell continued to collapse, and the rumbling sound was endless. It was like a huge disaster, and the void cracks appeared one after another. Perhaps Chu Bei deliberately controlled his power, but just as this world was about to be completely destroyed, the energy storm suddenly disappeared. Moments later, a huge golden halo appeared in the sky. It absorbed all the energy storm in this small world. Following that, the golden light surged into the chaotic zone with the cracks, causing the spatial cracks to slowly close and return to their original perfect state. Under Chu Bei's palm, the Western totem's endless demonic aura was vast and mighty. He was still bound by the golden light chains. However, he looked very miserable. Half of his face had been slashed away, and the vertical eye in the middle of his forehead had rolled to an unknown location. Oh my dragon mother! In front of the expert, even totems wither. The purple-gold divine dragon glanced at the miserable Western totem and could not help but exclaim, following the expert's soul, I'm also a dragon with a backer. If the West Earth totem refines it and stews it into snake soup, it will definitely be very nutritious, the baby dragon mumbled softly. Once a frontline warrior, now reduced to sucking blood to survive. How sad. Chu Bei looked straight at the West Earth totem. You survived that battle. The West Earth Totem's body trembled slightly as his gaze was fixed on Chu Bei, as if he wanted to see through him. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that the final battle is about to arrive. Are you going to stay here forever? Chu Bei's tone was calm. If my inner world hadn't been tampered with, why would I stay here? The West Earth Totem's gaze focused, his eyes filled with indignation. As for you, you probably didn't even do anything in that battle, right? You didn't leave any injuries. The West Earth Totem's tone suddenly changed, his words filled with mockery. Chu Bei smiled and did not reply. He only raised his right hand and slapped down again. Bam! With a dull bang, a resplendent golden light filled the sky as the Western Totem's snake tail was broken into two. Kill me if you want. I am the supreme of West Earth. When have I ever feared death? The Western Totem's killing intent sword. You're still useful. I won't kill you. Chu Bei shook his head, his voice indifferent. After he finished speaking, a small azure dragon flew out from between his brows, and a dragon's roar resounded through the void. East Totem. Seeing the small azure dragon, the Western Totem's only pupil suddenly shrank. Then, he shook his head helplessly and sighed. I didn't expect you to be even more miserable than me. Sigh. What? The great dragon blade is the East Earth Totem. Hearing the Western Totem's words, Qian Nan and the purple gold divine dragon looked at the small azure dragon in astonishment. Since you won't kill me, what are you forcing me to do? The Western Totem realized that the golden chains binding him had dissipated. He looked at Chu Bei with a puzzled expression. At the same time, the flesh on the side of his face that was missing grew back. The vertical eye flew back and gradually recovered its original appearance. Since the other party was nourishing the Eastern Totem, he was not its enemy in terms of camp. I want to go to the heavenly realm. Chu Bei emphasized each word. The heavenly realm? The Western Totem looked at Chu Bei suspiciously. With your cultivation, you still need my help to go to the heavenly realm? I feel like I'm being watched by some unknown force. Once I break the barrier of the heavenly realm, I'm afraid this force will awaken. Chu Bei made up a story. Hearing this, the Western Totem frowned and couldn't help but take a deep breath. Are you referring to the heavenly path? Perhaps. Chu Bei nodded slightly. After a moment of silence, the Western Totem began to form a seal with both hands. A vast wave of energy rippled through the entire 12th layer of hell. In fact, the violent energy fluctuations even caused the fiends sealed in the other hells to roar as well. Your Holiness, this is bad. All 18 hells are rioting. A clergyman ran into the Temple of Light in a panic. Which layer of hell is the source of the chaos? The Pope quickly asked. It's the 12th layer of hell, the clergyman said nervously. After confirming his guess, the Pope of Light took a deep breath. What an eventful season. Let's hope he doesn't cause any trouble. At the same time, in the 12th layer of hell, the Western Totem once again opened his third eye. A pitch-black beam of light tore a hole in the formation pattern formed previously. The void in the hole shattered, and a space passage with dense immortal mist appeared. The passage to the heavenly realm has been opened for you. You may enter. The Western Totem gestured at Chu Bei. He was one of the first deities to discover the existence of the heavenly realm. He was also one of the few deities who could teleport others into the heavenly realm at any time. Coincidentally, the other party came looking for him. In his opinion, the person in front of him was definitely one of the reincarnated deities of the first batch. He knew everything about him. The passage slowly closed, and Chu Bei and the others disappeared into the hole. Master, are we going to reach the heavenly realm? In the space passage, Qian Nan clenched his fists, looking a little excited. He felt as if he was wandering in the river of time, as if he had traveled through endless years. Finally, with a flash of light, he flew out of the space passage. The aura here is so comfortable. I really want to live here forever. The majestic spiritual energy rushed towards them. The purple gold dragon and baby dragon couldn't help but howl. In front of them was a beautiful short mountain. Flowers covered the whole mountain, and the air was filled with an intoxicating fragrance. The hot spring flowed down from the top of the mountain, forming dozens of connected springs halfway up the mountain. The hot springs were like pearls, adorned with the flowers all over the mountain. It was really a sacred place. Master, the aura here is similar to the 100 Flowers Valley. It's very comfortable. Little Dawn squinted her big eyes, clenched her little fists, and looked intoxicated. The baby dragon had also jumped into the hot spring, splashing the water and enjoying it. As for Catherine and the zombie king Uxin, they were sniffing the various fragrances with relaxed expressions. Why do you think these deities are in a hurry to summon us? Did something big happen recently? I heard that the god of thunder and the goddess of wisdom fought, and the goddess of wisdom's shrine was destroyed. Don't talk nonsense. It was clearly the goddess of wisdom who attracted the lightning during her tribulation and destroyed the goddess of wisdom's shrine. I discovered an intruder, and it's an eastern dragon. Everyone, come and take it down together. Walala! The spring water churned. The baby dragon jumped up and shouted towards Chu Bei, Senior, quickly save me. I'm being chased by a birdman. Chapter 386. Hearing the baby dragon's cry for help, Chun Nan, Catherine, and the rest all looked over. They saw a group of four-winged angels following behind the baby dragon. There were black, white, red, yellow, and all sorts of other colors. You've been targeted the moment you arrived. Looking at the baby dragon running toward him in a panic, Chu Bei smiled. Seeing that the four-winged angels were about to catch up with the baby dragon, Chu Bei waved his hand, and a dazzling golden light surged toward the four-winged angels like a wave. What's going on? Why can't I move? What did you do to us? Let us go. You bunch of Easterners, how dare you enter our Western territory without permission? The Lord God will not forgive you. The golden light swept across, and the angels chasing the baby dragon instantly froze on the spot, unable to move. The angels at the back who didn't participate in the chase saw that their companions were imprisoned and instantly stopped in their tracks. They looked at each other, and no one dared to act rashly. Until 6 rainbows flashed across the sky from the east, these vigilant angels seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. The Lord God and the rest are here. The angels seemed to have waited for their savior, and they were all excited. What are you all doing? A cold voice came from one of the rainbows, exuding supreme majesty. This was a beautiful woman with long golden hair, blue eyes, snow-white skin, and snow-white clothes that fluttered in the wind. Her every movement was filled with holiness. Lord gods, these Easterners came to our Western territory without permission. Hearing the words of an angel, the 6 Lord gods noticed the presence of Chu Bei and the rest. When they saw the appearance of Chu Bei and the rest, their shocked expressions were no less than the Pope of the Church of Light in the mortal world. It's you. The goddess of wisdom opened her mouth slightly, and her gaze was fixed on Chu Bei. Just as she spoke, she seemed to have realized the problem with her words and hurriedly changed the way she addressed him. You. Why are you here? The 5 other overgods also stared at Chu Bei in disbelief. They had gathered the army of angels this time, so that they could give the order to find this terrifying existence and investigate his background. But unfortunately, before they could give the order, the person they wanted to investigate appeared in front of them. Seeing the goddess of wisdom's expression, Chu Bei was stunned for a moment before he asked tentatively, "You guys also witnessed the battle in the Eternal Forest?" The goddess of wisdom hurriedly nodded. "I'm the Western goddess of wisdom. This area is my territory. May I know the purpose of your visit? Is there anything I can help you with? On the other hand, we came here without permission and caused a small misunderstanding. Since the other party was so polite, Chu Bei naturally wouldn't put on airs." He waved his hand and removed the restraints on the previous group of angels. Oh my God, where did this person come from? Even the chief god is so respectful to him. Could he be some big shot from the east? How can those Eastern divine kings have so much face? Could he be the Eastern divine emperor? That's possible. Just as the angels were guessing Chu Bei's identity, the goddess of wisdom's cold gaze swept past them. What are you still standing here for? There's nothing for you to do here anymore. Hurry up and leave. After the four-winged angels left, only the 6 overgods and Chu Bei's group were left. When the goddess of wisdom announced her identity, the purple gold divine dragon and dragon baby had already flown to the goddess of wisdom's side. "Oh, goddess of wisdom, please accept my praise." The purple gold divine dragon had a pious look. "I didn't expect to be so close to the goddess of wisdom one day." "Oh, I'm with the goddess. Goddess of wisdom, please bestow upon me supreme wisdom." The baby dragon imitated the purple gold divine dragon, squinting its eyes and putting its claws together. The goddess of wisdom smiled and looked at the two of them. Then, she stretched out her hands and softly chanted, "Life commendation." 2 rays of holy light shot out from her hands and rushed into the bodies of the purple gold divine dragon and the baby dragon respectively. Chu Bei glanced at the purple gold divine dragon and the baby dragon, who had a look of enjoyment on their faces and regretted bringing them along. They were too embarrassing for him. "I'm the goddess of life of the West. Senior, may I ask if your cultivation level is above the divine emperor realm? Also, what do you mean by the War of the Heavens era, the heaven and earth chessboard? Chess players, chess pieces?" At this moment, a woman in a green dress cupped her fists towards Chu Bei. Cough, cough, cough. Seeing that the baby dragon and the purple gold divine dragon were about to flatter the goddess of life again, Chu Bei hurriedly coughed to stop them. Luckily, these 2 little guys noticed Chu Bei's gaze and didn't continue to do anything degrading for him. Before that, take a look at the 2 of them. Chu Bei summoned Catherine and Zombie King Uxian in front of him. Fairy Wu Qing. Seeing Catherine and Zombie King Uxian, the 6 core gods exclaimed at the same time, "What Fairy Wu Qing?" Qian Nan couldn't stay calm and fixed his eyes on the goddess of life. Are they not merciless fairies? But they look exactly the same. The 6 core gods seemed to have also noticed the difference in Catherine and Zombie King Uxian's aura and were confused. "Master, the Fairy Wu Qing they're talking about is Uxian from the celestial realm, right? But why is Uxian called Fairy Wu Qing?" Qian Nan tilted his head and looked at Chu Bei. "Uxian? Fairy Wu Qing seems to be called Fairy Wu Qing." The goddess of life frowned slightly and continued. "Those born in the eastern heaven realm who become gods are called gods, and those who break through the void and ascend to the heaven realm from the human realm are called fairies. This Fairy Wu Qing is a fairy who broke through the void and entered the heaven realm 10,000 years ago. She has the best beauty in the eastern heaven realm, and her magic power is very powerful. There are also rumors that she's the biological sister of Fairy Tantai. In short, she's a mysterious woman. She drew her own land in the heaven realm and called it the Heartless Realm. She doesn't allow outsiders to enter the Heartless Realm. At first, many immortals and gods refused to accept it, but after countless immortals and gods died in the Heartless Realm, that place became a forbidden area, and no one dared to offend it anymore." Just as the goddess of life finished speaking, the goddess of wisdom added, "It's said that Fairy Wu Qing is very low-key. She only quietly cultivates in the Heartless Realm and never participates in any events in the Heaven Realm. As a result, when people mention Fairy Wu Qing, they always have a feeling of forgetting about her. However, once they wake up, they will immediately think of her ruthlessness, beauty, and mystery. Drawing a land to live, immortals and gods stopped, and gods died in the Heartless Realm. Why did my Yusin become like this?" After listening to the goddess of life's and the goddess of wisdom's descriptions, Qian Nan muttered to himself. Finally, his gaze landed on Chu Bei. "Master, Yusin was so pure and kind 10,000 years ago. She didn't understand the mortal world's etiquette and was as pure as the most sparkling and translucent snow on the peak of the heavenly mountain. Why is she so decisive now? Is it all because she's cultivating the sage unruffled record?" "Yes." After Chu Bei nodded, he calmly replied, "Because she's cultivating the sage unruffled record. There are 2 souls in her body. The soul you know no longer occupies the dominant position in her body." "Master, then can you get rid of the soul that was born later?" Qian Nan anxiously waited for the answer. "If I can't, then what's the point of bringing you here?" Chu Bei smiled. "Thank you, Master." Hearing Chu Bei's answer, Qian Nan heaved a long sigh of relief. His whole body seemed to have relaxed. Is the fairy Tantai you mentioned just now Tantai Xin? Qian Nan seemed to have thought of something again. He immediately tilted his head and asked the goddess of life tentatively. Who else could it be if not her? The goddess of life smiled knowingly. Tantai, you're indeed impressive. You actually really became a celestial supremacy. Chonin couldn't help but sigh. A celestial supremacy in the Eastern Heaven Realm was at the Godly King Realm, which was equivalent to a Master God in the Western Heaven Realm. Whenever he thought of Tantai Xian, Qian Nan would feel a sense of loss. Especially after knowing that she was already a celestial supremacy in the Heaven Realm, while he was barely considered to have stepped into the 6th stage. This sense of loss was even more intense. Tantai, why did you treat me like this back then? If not for you, how would my cultivation have regressed? Chunnin let out a long sigh. He felt a little bitter in his heart. After all, Tantai Xian was the girl he liked before he met Yusin. Don't worry, it won't be long before you catch up to her. Chu Bei saw through Chunnan's thoughts and patted him on the shoulder. You haven't stated your intentions. Is there anything we can help you with? The goddess of wisdom looked at Chu Bei and returned to the original question. The corner of Chu Bei's mouth held a smile. Our destination this time is the Heartless World. We just happened to pass by here. Senior, do you need us to lead the way? The goddess of wisdom flapped her white wings slightly. In the Heartless World, the Heartless Fairy was the most heartless. In the East, no immortal martial realm cultivator dared to loiter around her immortal abode. Otherwise, they would be killed without mercy. For tens of thousands of years, there were also some arrogant deities who were unconvinced and tried to barge in. In the end, they all died there. Even they weren't too willing to deal with her. But if they could use this opportunity to be on good terms with this senior in front of them, it couldn't be better. There's no need for that. Chu Bei declined the goddess of wisdom's kindness. He had the system map. Even if it was his first time in the Heaven Realm, he knew where the Heartless World was. Then I wish you a safe journey. The goddess of wisdom was very respectful. Compared to the heavenly realm, the Western main gods like to build shrines and recruit believers, while the Eastern practitioners like to build their own cultivation places on beautiful mountain peaks or in caves with rich spiritual energy. Chu Bei brought Chen Nan and the others and flew towards the east. More and more jade palaces came into view. In next to no time, Chu Bei's group arrived at a dreamlike paradise. The air here was dense, the mountains were green, the valleys were green, the waterfalls were flowing, the cranes were flying, and the apes were jumping happily. On every mountain peak, the jade palaces were connected together. It was really poetic and picturesque, intoxicating. Chapter 387. What's going on here? Why are you all going to the Tantai Sacred Land? You're muddle-headed. Did you forget such an important day today? Today is the day of Tantai Fairy's lecture, and I heard that Fairy Wuching also went. I almost forgot. Good thing you reminded me. Let's go. We have to go take a look. You can go take a look, but don't have any other thoughts about Fairy Wuching and Fairy Tantai. There are at least 8,000 people who died in their hands. I don't want you to become the next one. A group of cultivators in Taoist robes gathered together and chatted with each other. Master, it seems that we don't need to go to the Heartless Realm. She came to the Tantai Sacred Land. Hearing the cultivators' conversation not far away, Qian Nan looked at Chu Bei and said, I already know. Chu Bei nodded lightly in response. The reason why he came to the Tantai Sacred Land was because he found that when he was preparing to go to the Heartless Realm, the red dot representing Yusin on the map moved towards the Tantai Sacred Land. As his voice fell, Chu Bei brought Qian Nan and the others to a huge floating square in the Tantai Sacred Land. At that moment, countless people gathered in the square. There were successors and disciples of various large sects, and there were also many loose cultivators. Looking around, there were figures everywhere. It was densely packed. Because of such a grand event, the usually peaceful and tranquil paradise had become a hubbub of voices and was bustling to the extreme. Just as countless people were anxiously waiting, A beautiful and pleasant celestial music sounded above the square. As the celestial music sounded, the bustling, sacred land quieted down. A group of cultivators raised their heads at the same time and looked at a jade palace high in the sky. They saw a green-clothed fairy slowly flying over. She had a peerlessly beautiful appearance, limpid eyes, snow-white skin, long black hair that was like a waterfall, and a slender and delicate figure. This was a dreamlike woman. Her entire body emitted a spiritual energy, and it could be said that she possessed the wisdom of heaven and earth. Tens of thousands of years have not left the slightest trace of vicissitudes on her body. She's still the amazing woman who cut across the immortal fantasy continent like a comet. She's still the same as before. Qian Nan's gaze was fixed on the girl in green as he muttered to himself. His voice was so weak that it was almost inaudible. But very quickly, Qian Nan's gaze was attracted by the white-clothed woman who flew out from the pavilion. Seeing the appearance of the woman in white, Qian Nan's breathing stagnated and his body trembled violently. Her white robes fluttered in the wind. Her peerless appearance was still as otherworldly as before. Her face was as beautiful as a delicate flower. It was still as delicate and pretty as it was 10,000 years ago. Her eyebrows were curved, her nose was tall, her lips were rosy, and her teeth were like jade. The corners of her mouth were slightly raised, revealing a bit of innocence and a bit of playfulness. Her faint smile was warmer than the sun, gentler than the sea, purer than snow, and more fragrant than flowers. The white-robed woman stood quietly in the void, her dress fluttering in the wind like a fairy from the 9 heavens. Chu Bei held his breath and stared blankly at the woman in white. He knew that the person in front of him was not an incarnation, but the real Yusin from 10,000 years ago. The familiar aura had not changed. Oh, Mother Long, what a pair of naughty ladies. At this moment, I am willing to give up my divine dragon body and become a human, just to be able to travel the heavenly realm hand in hand with the 2 fairies. The purple gold divine dragon laid on the baby dragon, his eyes constantly switching between Yu Xian and Dan Taixian. His eyes were shining. Ruffian dragon, if you dare to say another word, I will stew you into a bowl of dragon soup. Qian Nan glared at the purple gold divine dragon fiercely. Fairies, Qian Nan is here to find you. The baby dragon looked at Dan Taixian and Fairy Merciless in the sky with his big, sparkling eyes and shouted proudly. Perhaps it was because he was in close contact with the purple gold divine dragon that he was gradually led astray. When we were in the Eternal Forest, you asked me if I would be willing to fuse with another person one day. Catherine walked in front of Qian Nan and looked straight at him. She pointed at Fairy Merciless with her right hand and said with a serious expression, "Is she the person you were talking about?" At the same time, Zombie King Yu Xian also came in front of Qian Nan. The 2 ladies seemed to have noticed something and were waiting for Qian Nan's answer. "No, you are you. There is no need to fuse with anyone," Qian Nan replied firmly. He already had an answer to this question in his heart. That's more like it. I am me. I don't want to fuse with anyone else. Catherine smiled at Qian Nan's answer. She seemed to be very satisfied. When I saw you in the void mirror, I knew you would come. I just didn't expect you to come so quickly. At this moment, the heavenly music above the square stopped and was replaced by Dan Taishuan's cold voice. A chilling gaze shot out from her beautiful eyes and landed on Qian Nan. I didn't come for you this time. Qian Nan turned into a golden light and disappeared from the spot. He appeared in front of Yu Xian. Oh my God, who is this guy? Fairy Tantai seems to know him. Why haven't I seen him before? But from Fairy Tantai's tone, she doesn't seem to be friendly with this person. Do you think he is the same as Fairy Tantai? He also ascended from the human world 10,000 years ago? Impossible. If he ascended from the human world 10,000 years ago, he would already be a celestial venerable. How could we not have heard of his name? Moreover, feel his aura carefully. He has just reached rank 6. Didn't you hear what he said? Not only does he know Fairy Tantai, but he also knows Fairy Wu Qing. In the square, countless people's eyes were focused on Qian Nan. Their eyes were filled with confusion and shock. Of course, there was no lack of celestial venerables from other sects in the square. However, these celestial venerables in the Divine King realm did not look at Qiannan. Instead, they looked at Chu Bei. Their eyebrows were filled with astonishment and disbelief. Why did he appear at this time? Does he also know Fairy Tantai and Fairy Wuqing? Shouldn't an existence like him be sealed in the third world? Why can he still move around in the heaven realm? Celestial venerables in twos and threes walked together and stared at Chu Bei vigilantly. Unlike the immortal martial realm cultivators in the square, they had personally witnessed this person's supreme divine ability in the eternal forest. The pressure released by his every move was enough to make people want to bow down and worship him. Even though they were strong, they could not summon any will to resist under that aura. In the sky, Qiannan looked at Fairy Wuqing quietly and did not make a sound. Tears rolled down his cheeks silently, and the mist gradually blurred his eyes. Even though he had found Little Dawn, Corpse King Uxian, and Catherine with Chu Bei's help, the three of them were not the Uxian from 10,000 years ago. However, the aura of the merciless fairy before him was that of a girl who could warm his lonely soul. Bad guy, why are you always following me? Bad guy, don't follow me anymore. There are two paths here that lead in opposite directions. We will each take one. Bad guy, you must be following me on purpose. My name is Uxian. Master picked me up in the flower bushes on a rainy night. When you grow old, you can still remember a girl called Uxian. Scenes from 10,000 years ago appeared in Qiannan's mind. Seeing that Uxian was really still alive, Qiannan's tears turned into laughter. His master did not lie to him. The woman in front of him completely overlapped with the fairy-like girl in white in his mind, who was untainted by the aura of the mortal world and dressed in white. Uxian. Qiannan looked at the woman in front of him with deep affection. When they met again, he had thousands of words in his heart, but in the end, he could only say Uxian. You must die. However, the white-clothed woman's reply to Qiannan was not the gentleness he was familiar with. Instead, it was 4 cold syllables filled with thick, killing intent. As soon as the cold voice fell, the beautiful white-clothed woman's eyes shot out 2 cold bolts of lightning. It was like a materialized sword ray. Then, she raised her right hand, and 5 slender fingers that were as clear as jade came together. They drew a beautiful trajectory in the air and slashed down diagonally. Whoosh! An incomparably resplendent materialized sword ray sliced through the air. It extended from the woman's fingertips to Qiannan's waist and slashed fiercely against it. Clang! Accompanied by the clear sound of metal, the resplendent golden ray slashed against the black tortoise armor. However, even with the black tortoise armor's protection, the unprepared Qiannan was still sent flying into the ground of the plaza by the force of the attack. A deep crater was formed as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Even if you've lost your memories, you can't possibly attack me. Why? Why? Qiannan flew out from the deep crater. He did not even bother to wipe the blood off the corner of his mouth as he flew back to the white-clothed woman. At this moment, Qiannan was in a state of madness. He repeated his words with a questioning tone. It was clearly the exact same aura, but the woman had unleashed a sword ray at him. She had used her heaven-defying sword energy to strike him mercilessly. Love really does make people lose their rationality. Seeing the idiotic Qiannan, Chu Bei shook his head and could not help but sigh. There's no reason. I just want you to die. The white-clothed woman's cold and emotionless voice reverberated throughout the Tantai paradise. 2 sword rays that were even more terrifying than the previous ones appeared in her palms. It was a good thing that Qiannan reacted quickly this time. The moment the sword rays were unleashed, his body turned into golden light and allowed the sword rays to pierce through him. Disciple, have you forgotten what I've told you? Her body is Uxian's, but the one controlling her body now is the new soul consciousness that was born from the record of the sage unruffled. Chu Bei reminded him at the right time. After Chu Bei's reminder, the idiotic Qiannan came to his senses. When he looked at Uxian again, his expression was a little more serious. How laughable. She would actually die for you. The white-clothed woman stared at Qiannan with an indifferent look in her eyes. No, don't hurt him. However, just as the white-clothed woman was about to unleash another sword ray at Chen Nan, a hint of gentleness suddenly appeared in her heartless gaze. Her originally cold and eerie voice also became soft and gentle. A few drops of sparkling and translucent tears flowed uncontrollably from her beautiful eyes, hanging on that somewhat dazed and naive, peerless fairy face. Uxian. A weak voice sounded in his ears. Chun Nan's body trembled, and he immediately stepped forward. He placed one hand on the white-clothed woman's shoulder and used the other to wipe away the tears at the corner of her eyes. He muttered, Uxian, Uxian. At this moment, Chun Nan's expression was incomparably excited. The lovable, naive, and pure girl from 10,000 years ago had returned. Scram! Don't touch me. However, just as Chen Nan's face was filled with excitement, the white-clothed woman's eyes were filled with coldness again. At the same time, a monstrous killing intent spread out. A tyrannical force, with him as the center, sent Chen Nan flying. You're actually still alive. You're not completely dead yet? If the cauldron is not destroyed, how can I live forever? The white-clothed woman seemed to be talking to herself. Then, she angrily pointed at Chun Nan and said, Was he the one who woke you up? Is he that important to you? He actually made you come back from the ashes. It seems like he's even more doomed. Only then will you be completely dead. Monstrous killing intent surged in the white-clothed woman's eyes. Soon after, her slender hands overlapped each other and formed a strange seal. Amidst the dazzling divine light, a blue prism was faintly discernible. Then, the white-clothed woman flicked her finger. The blue prism disappeared, and when it reappeared, it had already enveloped Chen Nan. Chen Nan was trapped in the blue prism. Although his entire body had turned into golden light, when he tried to leave the prison, he was shocked to discover that there was a tyrannical force on the prison's light wall that prevented him from leaving. When he looked at the 300-meter-long divine sword that Fairy Wuching had condensed in the sky again, he understood that she wanted to use the prison to completely destroy him. Die! The white-clothed woman shouted. Her indifferent and emotionless gaze swept past Chen Nan as she waved her right hand. Instantly, the 300-meter-long divine sword in the sky directly slashed down at the blue prison. Chi! The 300-meter-long divine sword tore through the air. Everywhere it passed, the void collapsed. The terrifying might shook the birds and beasts in the immortal realm to flee. Not far away, some cultivators with weaker cultivations were even shaken by the aftershocks to the point that their blood and chi were roiling. The immortal martial realm cultivators present looked at Chen Nan in the prison sympathetically. They had long heard of Fairy Wuching's heartlessness, but they never thought that before the lecture had even begun, they would personally witness Fairy Wuching's massacre. And this pitiful person seemed to be an old acquaintance of Fairy Wuching. As for the immortal supremes present, they only glanced at Chen Nan before their gazes returned to Chu Bei. They knew that the person trapped in the prison came together with the other party. It was impossible for the other party to sit by and watch. As expected, the figure moved. In an instant, he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already beside the blue prison. Chu Bei pointed his finger. A dazzling divine light spread out. The blue prison shattered, turning into a rain of light that filled the sky and dissipated in the void. Then, he raised his finger to meet the 300-meter-long divine sword that was slashing down with terrifying might. Crack! When the two collided, there wasn't a deafening explosion. Instead, it was a crisp sound that sounded like jade shattering. At the moment of collision, to be exact, Chu Bei's fingertip was still some distance away from the 300-meter-long divine sword. The latter seemed to have been hit by an irresistible force of a natural disaster. With a loud bang, it shattered and dissipated. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.